guys, and welcome to Irish Football Fan TV. Ger Brown and Paul Tierney, which is even here for the watch-along of Arsenal versus Dundalk in the Europa League group stages, with kick-off at the Emirates at 8 o'clock. Paul, how are things for you? Obviously, a bit of divided loyalty for you here. You are an Arsenal fan, but of course, big interest as well in the League of Ireland. So, is there divided loyalty here, or is your love and passion for Arsenal taking over for tonight?
Well, I mean, obviously I'm an Arsenal supporter mainly, but I do follow Shells in the League of Ireland as well. So, I mean, I'm not a Dundalk supporter per se. Obviously, I don't want to see them getting absolutely hopped off tonight, but I think they've every chance after seeing that Arsenal side. It has a very Spurs against Shamrock Rovers feel from 2012 when Spurs didn't really fancy it that night, and then Rovers ended up going 1-0 up. And then Bale was warming up all of a sudden. So it's got a very, very good feel. It's got a very similar feel to that. So, I mean, obviously I'm still supporting Arsenal because I'm a Shelbourne fan, as previously mentioned. But, I mean, it's a European game. It's tough for both sides. So, hopefully it's a good game anyway. I mean, I don't want to stick my loyalties too closely anyway, so...
Yeah, I suppose I'm a St. Pat's fan, so I'm obviously still hurting after last night's disappointing defeat. But again, like, you always want to see Irish teams acquit themselves well when they're in these opportunities. You mentioned that game 9 years ago, and Rovers, as you mentioned, took the lead that night against Spurs. It didn't disgrace themselves, only went on to lose 3-1. It was probably one of their better showings from that group stage campaign. Interesting for Dundalk because the talk of the build and the lead up to this game was Sunday's game against Shamrock Rovers was kind of their priority. They kind of realised Arsenal away from home was always going to be big ass. Need to beat Dundalk, need to beat Pats to get back into Europe. Obviously, the results turned out last night. They now only need to draw their last two matches, or that win on Sunday will secure them. They've still got a pretty strong team tonight. So if Gary Rodgers and goals, going by flash scores formation, even going from UEFA's formation, it's going to be Dan Cleary, Andy Boyle, and Brian Gartland in the back three, with Donegan and Morty as the wing backs, with a midfield three: Patrick McElhenney, Chris Shields, and Sean Murray, and then Patrick Hooban and Michael Duffy up front. That's a pretty strong Dundalk team, so it doesn't give you the impression they're totally having their two eyes on Sunday's game in Richmond Park.
No, definitely. I mean, if you look at Arsenal's team more so, it looks like they have their eyes more so on the game on Sunday against Man United. Dundalk, I mean, it looks like they feel like they've got a chance of getting at Arsenal here. Obviously, they've got a left-back playing centre-half, Arsenal, and Kolasinac. Mustafi's playing, so anything can happen in that sense. Maitland-Niles is a right-sided player playing on the left, and the only player in the back line who's actually playing his proper position is Cedric, and Mustafi is as well, but Mustafi is Mustafi. So, I mean, Dundalk have every chance in this first half. It's a very strong Dundalk side. They've got nothing to fear against this Arsenal side, and I mean, it sickens me to say it, but they should just go for it. But I think Arsenal will be looking to win. Maybe they've seen it as a bit of a training exercise, which is unfortunate. But, I mean, Dundalk have every chance. They should just be confident and go for it, because it's once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to play in the Emirates for some of these lads. So why don't they give it a go?
Probably Arsenal's midfield is probably probably Arsenal's midfield is probably their most experienced. Like, obviously Joe Willock is only a young lad, he's only in his early 20s, but there's plenty of experience in Granit Xhaka and El Nanli, the Egyptian in midfield, and then that front three does have the potential to be exciting, although it hasn't clicked for any of these three yet at Arsenal. That's Nicolas Pepe, Eddie Nketiah, and Reece Nelson.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, Europa League is a chance for everyone to come in, get an opportunity. I mean, Willock, Nelson, Nketiah has probably been the best of the three. He's got a couple of goals since he came back from Leeds. Even when he was at Leeds last season, he done very well. Even you look at Pepe, to be honest, up there, he hasn't really shone since his 72 million signing from Lille, which is another one to mention. But I mean, I wouldn't be. I don't know. I think the young lads will give everything. I think it's the other lads you'd have to worry about for Arsenal. For Dundalk, I mean, they're an experienced side. They've been together a while. They've nothing to lose here tonight, and hopefully they have a good performance, but Arsenal still get the win.
Yeah, just the one other area of the Arsenal team we actually didn't touch on there, the goalkeeper, Runnarsson. He's a new enough name to me. I'm sure he probably played last week against Rapid Vienna. in the
No,
Europa League. I'm probably sure
no,
he played in a couple of Europa.
he played. Leno was in last week, and Leno was
All right.
terrible last
Oh,
week.
that's right. He
So
made a shocker. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
yeah. But it's his debut. I mean, I don't know much about him. I know they signed him in the summer. I mean, it's a big night for him all the same, even if it is against what Arsenal would consider lower opposition. Obviously, they aren't. But I mean, it's I actually don't know what to say about Arsenal, to be honest. The team has shocked me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
But to be honest, I'm not totally surprised with our Arsenal team. Like, this is what Arsenal's fourth season in a row now in the Europa League. And I suppose the fact that they're always fortunate they're top seeds, they're obviously going to always get lighter opposition in the group stages. They've always kind of treated it as an opportunity to use squad depth, to give players opportunities to get chances, particularly the younger players, and prioritise the league. No major surprise to that Manchester United game on Sunday. I am just kind of a little bit surprised Dundalk are going quite as strong as they are, because you could tell that Filippo Giovagnoli in his post-match interview after the game against Waterford on Sunday was kind of you could kind of tell that, like, the fixture catch-up, as great as it was being Europa League, was starting to kind of burn him out, and getting back into Europa League was the number one priority. But maybe they feel, look, that, like, because of circumstances last night in Finn Park, like, we only need to now avoid defeating our last two matches. They've got Pats on Sunday. Their last game is Sligo at home. They'll be confident enough and feel like, let's have a cut-off here at Arsenal and give us a good idea of where we are in terms of overall competing in this competition.
Yeah, I think with a lot of the Dundalk players as well, they would have been, a lot of the starting 11, they would have been wanting to play in this game. This is probably one of the biggest games in Dundalk's history, playing in the Emirates in a competitive game. And I'm sure all those starting 11, you look at Brian Garton, who's been there since the success came in, Gary Rogers, Patrick Hooven as well. I mean, this is a big night for these lads, Chris Shields as well. So, I mean, I'm sure they'd want to play regardless of the situation. Obviously, they do have two big games in the league to qualify next year for Europe. But, I mean, this is once in a lifetime, and I see why the manager has put this team in and gives them every opportunity.
It's interesting to see as well, given obviously the fact they're going with the three centre-backs and the two wing-backs. A bit of surprise to see no Darrell Leahy or Sean Gannon, their two regular full-backs, starting tonight.
Yeah, I'm surprised with Sean Gannon. It's obviously an idea the manager's come up with, formation, maybe tactics, the way he wants to play against this Arsenal side. But I mean, I don't know. I'm still shocked by that Arsenal team, to be honest. I don't think I get
when we say shock, are you annoyed that Arsenal haven't gone stronger, and you actually feel that Arsenal have put themselves in a vulnerable position not to win this game?
Yeah, I think it's got a very Spurs, Shamrock Rovers feel to it from 2011. I think this is Arsenal's best opportunity. I know it's early in the season, but it's their best opportunity to get into the Champions League. And they should be taking all the games seriously, never mind one or two. They should be taking them all right from the word go. But, I mean, look, the game's about to kick off there. We'll see how it goes. But I am just taking a bit back.
That just reminds me, the game is on 30 seconds with me. So, in order for us both to be in level with, I'm going to pause the game.
Yeah, and then I'll call when you're on.
Yeah, so I have a pause there at 38 seconds. Dundalk are just about to take a throw in, so we'll both be in sync with each other then. But that's an interesting one. I know we touched on a small bit off air. I know we're going a little bit away from Dundalk. We will try and get back more onto Dundalk. But just maybe one last thing on Arsenal. You touched about all Europa League's our best chance of getting into the Champions League. I need to prioritise that. This is Arsenal's fourth season in a row in the Europa League. They haven't won it.
You unpause them, man. Unpause the... Sorry, man.
I was just saying that this is your fourth season now in the Europa League. Obviously the fact that it's your fourth season in a row in the Europa League shows you haven't won it, shows you haven't got into the Champions League. Do you not think that maybe it's actually being in the Europa League and taking a priority, the burden in the league? Like, I look, for instance, this is Arteta's first season in charge. I go back to 4 seasons ago. Klopp's first season in charge, full season in charge. Liverpool didn't have the burden of Europa League football. We could concentrate solely on Premier League and getting into the Champions League through that. And we went on to finish fourth that season. For me, that was a catalyst that has led to everything that's happened to Liverpool over the last 3 years.
Yeah, well, I mean, they are professional footballers at the end of the day. This is their job. I know it's tiring to play Thursday, Sunday all the time. Thursday, Monday, Monday, Thursday, whatever. should be able to do it. It's not like Dundalk having to go to Derry on a Monday and then play Europa League on a Thursday. You know, it's completely different. Arsenal should be prepared for this, but I mean, I think it's always the best opportunity. I think in the league, Arsenal's form, they just don't beat the teams in and around them enough to be in with a shout of qualifying. They've got to start getting points away from home, and that's the difference. I think you look at Klopp as a manager. I know it's early for Arteta, but Klopp as a manager, he can inspire anyone to be a fantastic player, and he gets results away from home when he has to. That's the difference, and we have time to watch Arteta. Hopefully, it'll come in like that. But I don't know. I wouldn't call it a burden. I think if you're in Europe, it's a privilege. It's not a burden. But look, that's the way it is, I suppose.
No, I don't disagree. It is a good platform, and I think it's been a great opportunity for Arsenal the last couple of years. But for one reason or another, it hasn't worked out. Like you could point and say they're unlucky that Atletico Madrid, a team with their quality, happened to drop into the Europa League the first year round. You get as far as the final, and anything can happen in a final is once-off occasion. And Chelsea just adapted to, I suppose, the longer break between the ends of the Premier League season, the longer commute out to Azerbaijan, the late kickoff, whatever you can say. But last season, you have to say, was an absolute massive failure. We all know going away to Olympiacos is not an easy task. Arsenal do the hard part. They go over there, get the win, and then find a way to still screw it up by giving away a couple of away goals and losing out on the away goal rule.
Yeah, I mean, they threw it away last year. It was shocking, but that's how it goes. I mean, in Europe, anything. Oh, Dundalk have a shot. Oof, come close. I'm not sure who that was.
There was Patrick McEnany. It was a good play from Dundalk out the back. It was Brian Gartland out on the wing to Michael Duffy. I'm just going to speed mine up a little bit because I think I've even fallen behind you this day. I had a 38-second head start, Paul, and now I've fallen behind you. How does that happen? Like,
good luck. Sure, look, it's a 90-minute game.
Yeah, so nearly 4 minutes gone. Corner here for Dundalk. It looks like Sean Murray is taking it. It is Sean Murray, so hopefully he can get a good delivery, build on his goal that he got last week.
Mm-hmm.
So Murray with the delivery, but unfortunately it's straight into the hands of Arsenal goalkeeper Runnison. He looks like a very young lad and has an unusual squad number 13 for a goalkeeper. Yeah, could be unlucky, could be good luck. Hopefully it's good luck for Dundalk.
We've got a couple of comments there. I'll just have a look at them quickly when we have an opportunity to break and play.
Yeah, feel free to get your comments in throughout the course tonight. League of Ireland fans, Dundalk fans, if there's Irish Arsenal fans out there, hopefully we can get across and talk about the game. David Salter, they're saying, evening gents, I'm on the town, yes. This one even is St. Pat's fan is definitely saying I'm on the town. I won't be saying that in 3 days' time when they come to Richmond Park. It'll be a different story then.
And we have one from an Arsenal fan here, AJ Forbes. He agrees with myself. As an Arsenal fan, it's a poor starting lineup. I agree with you, AJ. Very poor, shocking to be honest. But look, we'll go from there. And then we have Mary O'Hanlon, who's saying, good luck, lads. Obviously a shout for Dundalk. She's got the Facebook profile picture as Dundalk there.
Maybe she's saying good luck to us on our broadcast tonight.
Yeah, pressurised moments here.
Yeah. They're letting the B panel on with no Gary Spain and Paul Nealon tonight. Like
this is the first division panel. This is.
Yeah, it's Kenny Cunningham and Richie Sadler when it comes to the World Cup for that kind of group dead rubber that no one really cares about.
Group dead rubber, the third, fourth place playoff.
Yeah, they don't even let them on for that. They let Après match on for that actually.
Exactly, that's a bit of crack anyway. May as well have a laugh at it.
It was the last one was brilliant because you got to have a laugh and you got to watch England lose miserably, so you got a double laugh.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic.
Yeah, so we're 6 minutes gone. Obviously, that corner from Dundalk obviously was disappointing. Arsenal have kind of come on the attack a good bit since then. Another crossfield ball, but well headed away there, and it's Patrick McEnany once again on the ball out to Chris Shields, who gives it back to. I'm not 100% sure. It's just the camera angle isn't the best. I'm a bit away from my TV screen. Just, of course, a couple of interesting results as well from earlier in the Europa League. Another huge setback for Celtic and Neil Lennon. 2-0 up at half-time away to Lille. Even got the fortune of the home side missing the penalty, but end up drawing the game 2-2. and now find themselves in a situation where they really do need to beat Sparta Prague at home next week.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was watching the first half, and I didn't catch the second half. Is that it? No, play on.
He went down very easy there.
He did.
Yeah, that was it Eddie Nketiah, was it?
Yeah, he's very lightweight anyway, so he got down.
And he's definitely going to be lightweight when you come up against Brian Gartland.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree about Celtic. To be honest, I was watching it earlier, and after going 2-0 up, you'd be disappointed. Now, they were throwing stats around that Lille have been unbeaten this season. They're the only unbeaten team in France. They're top of the league. Look, regardless, if you go 2-0 up against any team and they miss a penalty as well, you should be holding on to that. And Celtic did do that last year in a lot of their away games. They had good form in the Europa League as well. But yeah, it's a poor result. They'd be disappointed with that.
The way, like I said, really puts big pressure on that game now next week against Sparta Prague because of their home defeat against AC Milan last night. AC Milan, as expected, bet Sparta Prague 3-0. I think Lille bet them 4 or 5-1 last week, so they do seem to be the whipping boys. So Celtic, never mind just 3 points next week, they need to get 6 points from them 2 games, and that'll then give them plenty to fight for the last 2 matches. Mixed fortune for the 2 English teams that are playing the early games. Leicester have maintained their 100% record. They went away to AEK Athens. They won that game 2-1. They were 2-0 up at half time. And a bit of a setback for Jose Mourinho and Spurs. They were beaten by Antwerp 1-0 in Belgium. So that now leaves them with 1 win and 1 draw from their opening 2 games. Just back to that should be a free kick. Yeah, free kick now for Dundalk. Just come out of the Arsenal half, a handball there against one of the Arsenal players. Just mention, of course, as well, obviously, the League of Ireland, the situation as well with Dundalk, and maybe the fact that the result last night at Finn Park has changed their mindset for this game now. Instead of maybe having to take 4, 6 points from the last 2 games, they just need 2 points. The league is an absolute in a messy situation at the moment in terms of permutations. Dan McDonald put out a great tweet last night. Despite the defeat for St. Pat's, they've got 3 games left. They can still finish 3rd, or they can still finish 9th. So they can still get Europe, or they can still end up in a relegation playoff. And then throw in more controversy from the first division, and it's now going to be Galway in the playoffs instead of Kevin Teagley.
Yeah, madness that. I was talking to Pat Evan the other night myself, and he was looking forward to the playoffs again. They were getting given another chance after their abysmal form since the COVID break when they came back. Cabell will be disappointed, and they'll probably have something to say on it because they were very confident of getting into the playoffs, of getting those extra 3 points off Wexford. But I seen Galway last week down in Bray, and the way they won was fantastic. But they were the much better side throughout the game, and they deserved the win. They could have won by a few more. Obviously, the way it happened was very dramatic in the end. But yeah, I mean, it's probably a tougher game for Bray now, to be honest, because Bray will want to get one back on them. But Galway are a good side. They've got in the 10 games John Caulfield's been in, they've won 7 of them. Before that, they hadn't won a game, so they'll be well up for it, and it's a tough one to call, that one as well.
Yeah, he's done a fantastic job, John Caulfield, since he went in there at the end of August. Like, they didn't seem as if they had a prayer making the playoff, and through a bit of good fortune, like, because they would probably say themselves, I was following the games Tuesday night, and for all the time it looked as if they were going to sneak in themselves anyway, because they were winning for so long against UCD. Obviously, in the end, there was a couple of goals later on that game. It finished 2-2. They still missed out, so they'll feel that they got a bit of luck after that. But obviously, of course, a bit of biasness. Delighted to see John Caulfield doing well. It's great to see our neighbours Galway needing a Roscommon man to come in and fix their season.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's a top manager. I spoke to him last week as well, and he outlined that the main thing he wants from that side is that they work hard constantly, and that's what they do. They're constantly at it. They play good football, they play good stuff, and that's why he won a league title with Cork as well. The only team to stop Dundalk in the last few years, and it's obviously disappointing what's going on down there at the minute with their relegation and so on as well. But yeah, Galway, I mean, they've got every chance in that playoff. They're probably the form team in it overall, maybe besides Bray. It's unfortunate against UCD. UCD have such goal power from all across the pitch that it's no surprise that they did eventually get 2 goals in the end after Galway were leading so long. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough one to call, those playoffs. I'm actually covering UCD in Longford myself, and I've seen both those sides. It's a tough one to call. Both sides are tough ones to call, and even the relegation playoff isn't set yet because Harps have been playing so well, like you've mentioned.
Yeah, Harps have given themselves a great shot in the arm of staying up, and I'm definitely now believing that Lee Horgan was talking nonsense to me that we've no chance of avoiding that relegation playoff. They have a good chance now. Like they beat Waterford at home, which they'll definitely be targeting. Whatever about the Rovers game on Sunday, like it should probably be enough. Just in relation to this game, Arsenal did have a decent long-range sighting there just a few minutes ago from their right back. As you said, Paul, the only man playing in his right position as Cedric Soares, but it did fly harmlessly over the bar. About 12 minutes gone. Arsenal, obviously, as you would expect, have had most of the ball, but they haven't really kind of broken down or kind of exposed Dundalk, and like they've kept a very good shape and look very organised. Again, another ball in the box. And I think Sean Murray there getting back, like he's providing a lot of cover in front of that midfield even so far.
Yeah, Arsenal are obviously playing on the break. They're going to have a lot of the ball like they always do in most games. Dundalk will probably let them have it a lot of the time, but it's what they do with it. And Pepe's after blazing one over the bar there again. That sums him up since he's joined. Anyway, we've got a couple more comments here. So we've got Chris Cody, and he says Arsenal saving themselves for United Sunday might backfire. I agree, Chris. As I said, very 2011 Shamrock Rovers feel to it when Stephen Rice put them ahead at White Hart Lane and the fans were delirious. We've got Peter Murphy here, who's obviously a Celtic fan. And yeah, make of that what you will. I still think being 2-0 up against any team is you shouldn't be dropping points like that. And then we've got Sean Burke, who thinks he's got Dundalk well. I think he means Dundalk are playing well in this. They definitely are. They're holding firm.
Poor grammar there now, Sean. Now, come on, you want to fix that up?
This is live, Sean. This is live. Now we've got Peter Murphy. This is another one targeted at me, I think. Galway versus Shells in the playoffs. Shells to go down.
Well, it could be targeted at yourself or Paul.
Yeah, one of us anyway. I've heard a lot of people saying that today, actually, Galway against Shells.
They had a cracker on the cup there, didn't they? Coffey's first game in charge, so...
Yeah, it was 5-2 to Shells, I think.
That's right, yeah.
5 goals from Shells this season. That's nearly the same amount they scored in the league, which is crazy.
I can't say much. Sure, Pats scored a quarter of their league total goals last night, or nearly a quarter of their league total goals last night.
Yeah.
And just back to the game, we've probably seen a contender for one of the worst corner kicks you're ever going to see, Paul.
Yeah, I think it was Mr. Pepe again. He's really living up to that.
I don't know, was he trying to catch Gary, just for if anyone isn't watching this game at home, it's like as if he kind of tried to drill it as if Gary Rogers was off his line and he just ended up drilling it into the side. And it's like as if he was trying to like drill it to the far post. It was an absolute waste instead of just trying to float it into the box. Pure stupidity. But if you're Dundalk, as we've touched on from an Arsenal point of view, we're saying yes, they're having loads of the ball, but chances wise they've had what? A long range effort from Cedrics, a long range effort from Pepe that both were harmlessly went wide. It shows already so far that if you're a Dundalk player thinking, right, we're making these frustrated, they're in the end they're reduced to ridiculously long range efforts that are not even hitting hope at best.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's obviously the plan they've had, and now they're showing that's the Arsenal tactics for it. I mean, probably go out the window a little bit, but yeah, I mean, it's obviously the tactics they've employed. As you said, you mentioned the lads playing the back three. Sean Gannon came out, which is a bit of a surprise. I think you said Darrell Leahy as well. I mean, that is a surprise. That's what they've normally played with this season. Maybe it is a tactic. Let them shoot from far out, and then we'll catch them on the break when we get the opportunity, which could be the idea.
Yeah, it seems, I'm open for correction in the comments, but it seems it's 3 changes from last week's game, which Kieran Dummigan in for Greg Sloggett in midfield. So I think that completes the 3 changes, obviously, with Andy Boyle and John Marty coming in as well. Just in terms of Dundalk as well, like obviously quit themselves quite well in this game. Second European campaign in 4 years, great to see. Co-efficiency is improving. You can understand why like Sunday's game is also of such a huge significance for them to get back into Europe. Obviously not just for financial reasons, but because of the profile they've built up themselves over the last couple of years, they'll actually put themselves in a good chance of getting far in the qualifiers again next year, because they're probably going to be seeded for the first couple of rounds. And who knows, then they could easily end up turning over someone and the draw could end up falling in favour of them for the playoff and find themselves in the group stages. I'm really jumping the gun there a little bit, but...
yeah, I mean, like a lot of the performances in these 6 games as well would be important too. Like obviously they were beaten 2-1 by Molde, but they were leading and playing very well up to when Molde did get the 2 goals. Tonight is probably an important game as well. See how they do against probably what you would say one of the favourites for this competition in a way. Yeah, it's very important for all the other clubs as well, see how they get on. But again, they've done well so far, and Arsenal will probably be looking to Aubameyang already by the looks of it.
It's a bit early. We only played not even 17 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a couple more comments in. So we've got our man.
Keep
Gary
them coming in, lads.
Will it look even worse for Cork if John Caulfield brings Galway up?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that situation was crazy. I still don't understand the full details around how Cork let him go or whatever, how he dropped out himself. But
I think it was mutual. I remember it was middle of last season, kind of mutual consent. But like, it's easy now to say in hindsight, obviously, like what he's doing with Galway and where Cork are. But like the feeling, generally speaking, was at the time Cork had been a poor start as well to last season, very similar to this year. Like there was a feeling after the 2018 season that he had brought them as far as he could. Bit of ping ball there, it's gone for a corner. That like it probably was time for him to go. It's easy to say that. Like I think it's more a case of how Cork reacted to it more than anything else. Like that they didn't find the right man really for him. Like John Cotter was there as caretaker manager. Maybe he was permanent manager. I'm not too sure, but he was there for a long time before they actually got Neil Fenn in, and then that's obviously backfired. Like so, it's more that kind of how Cork have reacted more so than like letting Caulfield go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it hasn't gone well for him, and there's obviously financial trouble down there as well, which has been looked at too. Obviously mentioned by most people. I think you look at Cork, and it's such a surprise that a couple of years ago they were fighting on winning the cup, winning the league as well, won the league a couple of years back as well. I think with John Caulfield, he'll be at Galway for a while, and I think if they don't come up this year, they'll definitely be in with a shout next year because they're, as I've seen last week, they just don't stop. They're constant for the 90 minutes, and they've got quality as well to back it up.
Yeah, I think they've got good backing as well from the Comer group off the pitch as well, so it's always good to have that over your head and over your shoulder. And like I said, like the momentum they've built on from this year, there was a feeling that Galway were a sleeping giant in the first division before Caulfield's come in. Now it's kind of got the right ingredients. Everything is working perfectly. That it should hopefully work out for them. And obviously, I'm going to be a bit biased and say I'd love to have another West of Ireland club in the Premier Division as well. Anyway.
Oh yeah, I mean, looking at it overall, as good as it is to have all the Dublin clubs in the top division, you know, you could probably do with spreading it out a little bit. And if another team did come up, like even Bray, I know Bray is very close to Dublin. It is Wicklow, and it would be good for a club like, I'm not saying who I'm supporting in these playoffs or anything, but it would be nice to get Galway back up because they are a big club, and you bring back the rivalry against Sligo as well, which would be important for the league.
Yeah, but just even like, I know you're saying like, oh, to get away from Dublin clubs, but like there is a serious potential the way things are at the moment. There could be a very much an East Coast dominant Premier Division next year. We know Drogheda are up there. Congratulations to all you Drogheda fans out there, and obviously Kieran as well. Hope you're watching. But just say if it comes to this scenario, which is a possibility in the playoff, Finn Harp still end up in it. Bray win the first division playoff. Bray win that. So you're going to have your 4 Dublin clubs plus Bray and Drogheda and Dundalk. So you're going to have 7 clubs from the east of Ireland potentially in the Premier Division next year, which will be, am I right in saying 7? Yeah, 4 and 7. So like that's a mass spread. That then only leaves Sligo, Derry, and I'm not sure who else I've left out there, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, like it'd be nice to spread it out, but again, if as I said, it'd be nice to get a goal shot here. No, nothing.
Yeah, well blocked there.
Yeah, done well. Gonna cross it in again. No, Pepe is dancing on the ball. Good man. That's a cross. Well done.
And away by Kieran Dummigan. Arsenal coming again. And now it's a free actually out for Dundalk. Patrick Hoban, of all people, out in front of his box, just shows the effort and graft that Dundalk players know that they're going to have to put in tonight.
Yeah, definitely. They're playing well, so defending well. Obviously, the only fella in the box for Arsenal there was Nketiah, and there was 6 lads around them. So Dundalk are protecting that goal with their lives so far, and fair play to them. Fair play to them.
Yeah, it's another way. Yeah, like another way of putting that as well is like Gary Rogers, I don't think has had a save to make, whereas Runnerson had to make that save. I know it was a long range effort, probably didn't trouble him much, but still had to make a save from Patrick McElhenney. just actually another point I wanted to touch on before we got a little bit off ourselves, the comments and all that. But getting points in the group stage, that it actually is massive as well for your coefficient, because I remember 4 years ago in Dundalk, obviously just missed out on the last day in the Europa League group stage, and I was thinking, like, with their great adventure, beating Bate Borisov, taking a couple of points Europa League, they're definitely going to be qualified or seeded for the Champions League round the following year. And I couldn't believe that they got Rosenborg. Like, how is that possible? Like, and then I found out afterwards that they were unseeded. I was like, how were they unseeded? But it turned out that if they had held on for a draw in their last game against McCarthy Tel Aviv, which they lost in the last minute, they actually then would have been seeded. They were that 1 point away from being seeded. So a couple of points here are decent. Probably Arsenal's best chance of the game there. Header just over the bar from Nicolas Pepe.
Yeah, Pepe is very involved so far. He's getting closer now. The ball's going lower and lower each time. We're getting closer.
It's definitely a lot closer than his first effort anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got a couple more comments. Mr. Big says, "Come on, Dundalk, you can do it. Fair play. Keep the comments coming, lads.
Great motivation."
Yeah, Peter's back where he's not a Celtic
fan. Oh, he's not. Oh, he put you in your place there, Paul.
Yeah.
So now we all want to know, who does Peter support?
Yes, Peter. Get back to us with that. Peter Murphy again on the Pepe's corner, which you made a comment on, like some under 14. Yeah.
That actually does remind me of that, actually, yeah. Well said there, Peter.
Very, very accurate. And we've got Kieran Chambers asking, what's the score, Kieran? You should be watching it. It's on Irish television. It's 0-0 at the minute. 0-0.
But again, you can't be jumping to conclusions. Maybe he doesn't live in Ireland. Maybe he's out for this evening. You know, of getting into the game, as we know from the Ireland watch. I thought that was in, but it actually went out wide.
Reece Nelson.
Reece Nelson. I did take a deflection, but I thought for a second it looked as if it crept in, but it just crept to the other side of the post.
Yeah. No,
it didn't even take a deflection.
No, it's just a poor shot.
I would say that it wasn't far away. It's definitely the best effort of the game so far, anyway. But yeah, just going back to that point, like, as me and Paul have seen, it's free out. As me and Paul have seen for the Ireland game, there does be a lot of people coming in here watching from various parts of the world that can't watch the game on TV. So we are brilliant to be off-servers and your score providers. And it is 0-0 after 25 minutes. Yeah. Okay, sorry, Paul, there, if I seemed as if I was the angry teacher having a go at the cocky student.
No problem. We've got Peter's back straight away again. He's a Cork City fan.
Sorry for your troubles.
Yeah, very, very sorry. But look, hopefully he'll be back soon. Great club, great support. Hopefully they'll be back soon.
Oh, big time, yeah.
Yeah, and we've got Kevin Tracy here who's asking, would you prefer the Arsenal to play the stronger 11 this evening? I definitely would, Kevin. I've made that point clear so far. Even after 25 minutes, they could probably do with a stronger team out there. So most definitely.
I think that's very, very jumping the gun there now, Paul, with the 5 substitutions as well as this in Europe. Just a little bit of good play from Dundalk there between Dummigan and Duffy, but it ends up breaking up and Arsenal coming out of the back. Now, so just that seems to just be Dunny.
Yeah, it's just what's the score? It's still 0-0, Keane. Still 0-0 here.
We'll try and provide regular score updates as we're talking along, just to let people know in case there is people there that aren't watching the game. Of course, if you are watching the game, we're great to provide that. We're providing your commentary instead of, I think it's Des Curran, and I'm not sure who's with him on Virgin Media.
Of course, we're better. Of course. Sure, there should be an option on the red button for us. There should be, Jay.
Should be, yeah.
Yeah.
A bit like back in the day in Sky Sports. Dundalk breaking away here now. Michael Duffy out in the wing. Doesn't really have much options in front of him. In fact, he has no one ahead of him. So doing very well to keep hold of the ball. Gives it back to McElhenney.
16, Sean Murray.
Sean Murray has been very lively in this game. He's been pretty much covering a lot of ground, but that was unfortunately a very, very poor cross in the end, and it went harmlessly out over the goal. Yeah,
no. Like, Dundalk have done well so far. I mean, they've kept Arsenal to pretty much nothing. Arsenal have ground into it last few minutes, but they've done well, Dundalk, and it looks like they've come here with a plan, and the plan's working so far. I know it's still very early on, but they've still got every chance here. And as I keep honing back to, it's like that Rovers game in White Hart Lane a couple of years back. I knew a couple of lads who went into it when Stephen Rice scored. They were fully deserved their 1-0 lead at the time. Obviously, Spurs brought on different players then, and they just overpowered them, and Rovers were probably knackered at that stage. But listen, they've done great so far, Dundalk, and fair play to them on that.
Yeah, I think even as well, like with the way the Europa League is scheduled now this year, obviously because it's delayed start, instead of having 2 weeks between each match day, you're only getting 7 days rest in between, and there's league games coming out of their ears left, right, and centre, like in the lead up to this game, after this game. Like they're doing very, very well so far, and like I said, to be over halfway through the first half, Guy Rogers not tested, 1 or 2 long range efforts that didn't cause them much hassle. They've had decent spells of possession. The only problem is when they do get that ball to someone in the opposition half, because obviously they're putting so much organisation to just stop an Arsenal from playing. As you've seen there, Michael Duffy, there's no one in front of him. You have to kind of hold the ball up, wait for support numbers to get up, and in the end, it still ends up being a backwards pass just to kind of more retain possession instead of actually attacking or hurting Arsenal.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's going to be tough for them because once they break foot, like going constantly up and down the pitch. I know myself, even playing amateur football, it's extremely tough to get up and down the pitch, and I can't imagine what it's like on a big pitch like that against these, some of these lads' fitness levels would be 100% constantly. So, I mean, it's tough for them. But listen, they've got every chance. Dundalk, they've done well. Oh, and Ketty, is he offside? He is.
He is. Yeah, flag has gone up there.
Yeah. So look, they're doing great so far. Obviously, tiredness will creep in if they keep playing like this because they're not going to have the ball a lot of the time. They're going to be chasing it, but they've done well so far, and credit to them.
Yeah, and they still got like decent options on the bench. You obviously mentioned regulars like Greg Sloggis, Sean Gannon, Darrell Leahy not starting. You've got Dave McMillan, who's very, very experienced. Daniel Kelly, who got that crucial goal in the playoff game as well. Jordan Flores, who scored that absolute peach way back at the start of the season. So there is a couple of good options available there. Sean Hoare as well, who's a very experienced player. Stefan Kovac, he came off last week. He's a regular sub for them, and he's got a bit of experience as well, I think, with Red Star Belgrade. So there is good options available to them. Obviously, not quite the likes of Lacazette, Aubameyang level, but still good options.
Yes, good options. Good players who work hard, as I mentioned about John Caulfield saying, I'm sure Filippo Gimignoli was saying the same for Dundalk here, and I mean that's what they've done so far, and I'm sure the lads off the bench will be doing exactly the same. We've got one more comment. Peter's back again about Cork. He's not sure about Cork. He's unsure with the assurances yet, and doesn't know. I mean, let's hope that's not the case. Let's hope it's first division football definitely next year, and hope the clubs stay as they are, keep going on.
I think for the size of the club and the fan base and the popularity and the area that they have to pick from, obviously, and Cork being such a big city, like I just can't see someone just letting it go, and someone not kind of getting involved like that as well. There is signs as well, I think, with the group that's involved with Preston and stuff like that. You just do wonder, like, between the prize fund, they won 2 cups, they won a league, they had a decent run in Europe as well, the same year as Dundalk back in 2016. They got to the Europa League 3rd qualifying round. The money for players, in particular, likes of Shane Maguire, Conor McCarthy, Sean McLaughlin, even going back as far as Alan Brown a couple of years ago, like, you just wonder, like, how has it come to this situation, like, and where is all that money gone? And if you're a Cork City fan, you would be really wanting to know that. Just worry here for Dundalk, but they've got clear. It looked a little bit. Eddie Nketiah just probably got caught in his feet there, Paul.
Yeah, and probably a bit too narrow, to be honest. He probably could have let the shot go earlier, but I think that's been a problem with Arsenal the last few years, is trying to score the perfect goal. Dundalk have a break here, though.
Yeah, Sean Murray out to John Mounty.
Oh.
Back to Murray. Oh, he tried to hit on the volley, but just got away from, didn't quite meet at the right time, but it's kept in play by Michael Duffy. He's got 2 to aim for in the box. He's keep hold of it up well. He gives it back to Chris Shields. Shields goes for the shot, and it's blocked, and Dundalk have their second corner now. I thought Shields might just whip that back in, but I suppose he's seen a bit of a yard of space in front of him and said, I'll give this a lash. But good ball in by John Mounty. Just unfortunate that Sean Murray couldn't make connection with it.
Yeah, I mean, if he catches that and it's on target, it's causing trouble for an Arsenal in the goal. Great break by Dundalk. Shows, again, the tactics, what they're playing. They go on the counter-attack because they know Arsenal always commit a lot of men forward, even more so than they should. Corners in here, and when Arsenal collects again, that's Dundalk's second corner.
Pretty much, unfortunately, it was a carbon copy of the first corner from Sean Murray. It's the only fault I'd have on his performance so far. I think he's been brilliant. I think he's either great cover in front of the back four. He's getting up and down, and he's kind of been at the heart anytime Dundalk break forward and get into the Arsenal half.
Yeah, I mean they've looked strong. I mean they're defending a lot as well, which means like it's good that they're getting forward even whilst they're defending as well. They've started very well so far. It's very good performance so far. I'm sure Filippo Gimignoli will be very happy with this so far.
Yeah, just Nicholas Pepe here for Arsenal, but he goes back out to Soares. Pepe with the cross should be easy dealt with, and it's well cleared from Dundalk, and that will relieve a little bit of pressure as Mustafi takes no chances and goes back to Runnerson as well. Yeah, Sean Murray, I think he's definitely one big key addition from this Dundalk team from 2016. Obviously, he doesn't have the European experience, but this is a player that's played for Ireland at international level at underage. He played in under-19 tournament alongside the likes of Jeff Hendricks, your John Negans, your Derek Williams, who've all gone on to play senior for Ireland. He was a regular for a long time in the Championship at Watford under Gianfranco Sola. I think Keith Andrews was saying it in the commentary last week. It just almost kind of like out of nowhere, it all just kind of seemed to go wrong for me, just kind of seemed to disappear. Had a couple of loan spells, went over to Scandinavia, but he's definitely kind of started to rediscover himself again at Dundalk over the last 2 years.
Yeah, I think you mentioned he was playing for Watford there. That Watford side came so close to promotion.
Yeah.
And that, like, after losing out that quickly, sometimes teams generally go on and win the division in the end. But they kind of slumped for a couple of years before they did eventually get promotion. And new managers came in. Zola. Oh, good save. There's the first save from Gary Rogers there. Is it? Who's that from? Kolasinac. He's unlucky
this replay will probably tell us more, but I thought maybe at first Rogers could have held on to it. Maybe there was more power in it than I realised.
Probably
I think he seemed to flap at it a little bit.
Yeah, he probably wasn't expecting him to get that decent a header at it, to be honest, because he was behind them as well. But look, they've won a corner from it. I think going back on Sean Murray there, Watford they'd done a bit of a revamp after that playoff defeat to Crystal Palace that time, and he probably just wasn't in the plans of the manager at the time, which is unfortunate. But it was Slavica Jokanovic that did get them up eventually. I think, I'm not sure, don't quote me on
the same man that got Fulham up 2 years ago as well.
Yeah.
They had 4 different permanent managers that season.
Yeah.
Or ping ball in the box, but Brian Gartner again with the header away. Arsenal tried to bring control, but it's hoofed away by Michael Duffy, and Arsenal will come again with Soares, who sells Duffy for a hot dog, puts in a good cross. But once again, Dundalk's defending is excellent. They're not giving Arsenal a sniff. They're absolutely 100% zoned, tuned in, they're focused. They know what's coming their way, and they're not going to give Arsenal a sniff in that back four, or the Dundalk back four isn't giving them a sniff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the performance has been great from them so far. They're a credit to the country so far. The lads are defending brilliantly at the back. It's a well set up, well drilled back line. Not letting Arsenal have the sniff in that box. And very good so far. Arsenal only had one real clear-cut chance, which Rogers saved just a couple of minutes ago. But yeah, very impressive so far from Dundalk. You have to credit them. They've done brilliant so far in this Europa League, and credit where credit's due, even from an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, just going back to that point, on Sean Murray, you were saying after that playoff heartache for Watford, I think it was 2013, wasn't it, against Crystal Palace? Like, so we're talking Murray, like if you played for Ireland under 19s in that European Championships in 2011, you're talking about being 20, 21. He's so young. So like you're in an environment, a situation where everyone's loving you and like everyone puts trust in you. New manager comes in, doesn't take a shine, take a fancy you, and you can just imagine like you're still very mentally frail at that young age, and you're still learning and developing, and that's obviously going to set you back, and you're going to have doubts, and maybe you just mightn't have the same desire, commitment levels. And like he, as I mentioned, he went on loan spells to Wigan, Colchester, never happened to him. He went over to Denmark, I think it was, but he's come back to Dundalk like with a decent reputation for himself. And I think he's really kind of established himself over the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's done brilliant, and I mean, coming back into a side who's competing in Europe regularly is great, and he's clearly up to the task. He's got 2 very important goals from so far in this Europa League run. The equaliser out, I think it was an equaliser out in Sheriff, or was it put them ahead. Maybe I'm not sure. I can't remember.
It would have been an equaliser. They fell 1-0 behind that night.
Yeah, they played brilliant that night as well. Ended up winning the penalty shootout, obviously, and then the goal last week, it was a brilliant header put into the corner. So he's obviously a very important player for Dundalk. And I think goals from midfield, you always see it a lot with a lot of the major teams in Champions League and Europe. Goals from midfield are crucial. Some lads you might not expect to pop up with a goal do. So, I mean, that's what you want to see. And you can see his quality is there, and you can see why he did play in the Championship for a team who were competing right at the top.
Yeah, he's definitely coming. He's brought a lot to this Dundalk team over the last 2 years since he signed before the 2019 season. And like I said, his performances so far in Europe, the goal last week, the way he's put himself out tonight, no harm. Arsenal have another shot there, but this time Gary Rogers makes absolutely no mistake and comfortably gathers it up. It was Joe Willock with the shot. He's been very, very quiet so far. He's a player I thought we might see again. Like you could say, you could throw him into a category along with Eddie Nketiah, Reece Nelson. He went over to the Bundesliga a couple of years ago, done well. I thought these players might develop and kick on a little bit more, but it hasn't happened for them for one reason or another so far at Arsenal.
Yeah, he's got the height for being a midfielder as well. He's a big, strong lad, very skillful. I mean, it just hasn't worked out. I think because it's such a convoluted position, centre mid, and then it's constantly changing. You've got Xhaka there, you've got Ceballos. Ceballos at the end of last year was brilliant for Arsenal. He got the winner at Sheffield United as well in the FA Cup quarter-final, which when they did concede the goal to make it 1-1, looked like they might be slipping out of the cup. Then they ended up going on to win it. So it's a tough position to battle in. I think Xhaka, listen, he's the butt of a lot of people's jokes a lot of the time, but he's doing well to battle his way back in after disagreeing with the fans nearly a year ago with that whole situation when he was the captain and the fans booed him off. And so, I mean, it's a tough position to start in. And I think when he gets opportunities like this, he should try and, Pepe with the shot deflection around.
How did he miss that?
Oh.
Shocking miss in the end from Eddie Nketiah. I think it probably just came at him. He didn't really know about it. He didn't really have adjust his body and his legs to it, but that was a let off for Dundalk there. If you just want to talk through it yourself, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, it's ping ball again. It's going around. He's probably just not sharp enough to react to it even because he hasn't been playing the last few games. Obviously, Lacazette's been in because he scored a couple of goals this season. But yeah, it's just pinball in there. And I mean, Dundalk get away with it again, and it's still good defending by them. It's 39 minutes gone now. They're nearly at the half. That's what they'll be saying to themselves. Let's get to the half. Let's get in. And interestingly, we've got a question from Peter M. again. He's asking, will Gio make changes earlier than the last game? I mean, I think a lot of it tonight will depend on tiredness myself. I think the lads, it's a big pitch against the side who keep the ball a lot. I mean, potentially, but I mean, they've done well so far. If the lads are willing to keep going, I'm sure they'll want to stay on as well. Oh, El Nini over the bar. What do you think yourself on that?
He was under very good pressure there from Michael Duffy. That was probably just the right side of sliding in for a tackle. Just going back to that earlier chance, it was the shot from the corner it was Joe Willock at the shot. It looked like it was kind of going wide. Hit off Garton, he didn't really know much about it, and then fell to Eddie Nketiah, but he just couldn't make the right connection to send it in the right direction. That was a free kick in the end for Dundalk, was it?
Free kick. I didn't actually see what happened there.
Well, just placed the ball down after the ball went out wide, but it wasn't Gary Rogers that took the kick the ball. Whether he's injured or he's pulled something, like maybe that's why. But you'd imagine then that he'd be in looking for treatment.
Yeah.
Also, if it's a goal kick, I don't know if outfield players are allowed to take them. If someone in the comments could pop that in, it'd be much appreciated.
I know.
But yeah, it's hard to believe we're 5 minutes away from half time. This first half is absolutely flown by. Should they always say time flies when you're having fun and when you're in good company?
Yes,
but like Dundalk have been really, really excellent defensively. They've been so well organised. It's been brilliant. Arsenal obviously once or twice have got in a little bit behind. You're going to expect that for a team of Premier League quality, and players like these that are playing the Premier League or knocking the door of the Premier League. Nicolas Pepe there just trying to force his way through, but again just couldn't anything come out of it. But it is another corner for Dundalk to defend.
Yep, another one defending very well. It's nice to see in the background there where the away fans would usually be. They've got the Dundalk crest and even I think the Dundalk colours as well. So that's good to see from Arsenal as well, that they're letting the fans know that they're very much missed, as well as the home fans.
Yeah, just obviously if
Oh,
it's a goal. And it's in the goal to Arsenal, and it looks like it
and Ketty
is
is
it
off
Eddie and Kit?
celebrating anyway.
Who said
It's in Ketty off celebrating
in
anyway.
Kit? Yeah, it I thought initially at first it looked like it might have been an own goal, but it looks like he must have got the last digit. It's disappointment. We'll have to have another look when the replays come up, but it looked like there was a mix-up in communication between a few Dundalk players. Camera zooming in and Gary Rogers, he didn't hold on to the ball. So yeah, corner comes in, Rogers goes up, misses the punch, hits off Dan Cleary, and then yeah, Eddie Nketiah just beats Gary Rogers to the ball. Then
Yeah.
does Gary Rogers even end up directing the ball into net himself? No, Eddie Nketiah beats both Cleary and Rogers to it. Yeah,
I mean, it's unfortunate for Dundalk. They played very well and defended very well so far, and they'll be disappointed with that goal in particular because it's probably just a bit of poor play all around. But look, listen, I mean, this was to be expected even with the Arsenal side, and I mean they go in there probably will go in there 1-0 up. I mean, Arsenal probably be delighted with that because they haven't played too well so far. So yeah, definitely, and Ketty was sharp to get on to the end of that, but disappointed from Dundalk after defending so well so far.
Obviously, all the focus and attention will turn on Gary Rogers that he didn't kind of deal with the first cross. He went for it, didn't make the cleanest of contacts with it. It's never nice to kind of single out someone for a mistake, but attention will focus on Gary Rogers, and should he have got that more meaningful purchase on the ball.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's unfortunate from Dundalk goalkeeper, but look, he's been brilliant for them down through the years. He's helped them greatly even get into this Europa League season so far. This season, he helped them brilliantly with the saving a couple of penalties in that shootout as well. So, I mean, listen, it's unfortunate that it's Arsenal chance here again. Pepe probably. Willock.
It's Willock. 2-0, and that. How quickly a game of football can turn. We're just saying Dundalk doing so well. We're going to the break positive in a good place, and in the space of literally 2 minutes, even Filippo Giovagnoli's expression on TV tells you all you need to know. The game is now suddenly just got away from him. Absolutely mad. It just shows you how cruel football can be.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Arsenal have turned it on the last couple of minutes. They've got 2 goals out of nothing. I thought this was lost here when Pepe, he probably should have played the ball first there, but Willock's come in and buried that. And we were just talking about Willock there. He should be trying to get more goals like that. And I mean, taking his opportunity tonight, he's put one past Rogers there, giving Shields on the line, no chance as well. Unfortunate for Dundalk again, probably a bit sloppy, but look.
Yeah, because it was good. It was a very good initial block as well from Andy Boyle, and it's just so unfortunate it happens then to follow the fact of an Arsenal man. But give credit to Joe Willock. Not long after I criticised him, it was a difficult one because the ball was just hopping, just rising as he went to meet to strike it, and he dispatched that very, very coolly. But I was just going to say as well, even just before that, what an awful time for Dundalk to concede, because mentally they'd be going to mindset 0-0 at half time, positive thoughts in the dressing room, everything is good, everything's positive. You can see the goal just before half time. It's probably the worst time because you can see the goal early on, it gives you plenty of time to react. You've no time. You go straight in at half time and you're left to dwell on that. And now they're going to be left to dwell on a hammer blow, and they find themselves in a situation where the scoreline is very harsh on them.
Yeah, harsh. And I mean, the 2 goals, they probably won't be delighted with them either the way they've come about. But again, one thing I will say about Arsenal there is they were quick to go forward straight after they got the first goal and did end up getting the second. I wish they would show that more so in the Premier League than even just tonight. But again, Dundalk could be disappointed. They've been very good so far. Just 2 unfortunate blunders, and that's how it goes sometimes, especially against a team like Arsenal who should be taking those chances and normally do, even with a second string side, is what you would say.
Just that point in Arsenal, that they showed the killer instinct to go for a second goal, and you said they don't show that in the Premier League. I think this is no disrespect intended towards Dundalk, but Arsenal feel that they are superior to their opposition tonight, that they should be going out and win this game comfortably. They get that early goal, they relax, it gives them an air and a breathe of confidence. Where I think in the Premier League, you're right, especially the score just before halftime, just make sure we have this 1-0 lead and we'll prioritise holding on to 1-0 lead first, and kind of weather down any storm or opposition is going to throw at us. I'll give you a second just to respond to that because it's just gone half time. where Arsenal lead 2-0 half time. 2 goals just before half time. The first from Eddie Nketiah, second from Joe Willock. Just Paul, if you want to then respond to my comment there.
Yeah, I mean, they shouldn't be looking down on Dundalk because Dundalk are champions of the league, and I think when you play against a team like that, you got to show them respect. Arsenal would be confident of beating most definitely, but you still got to go out there and do it. And they've shown that in the last 5 minutes that once they nick a goal, they go up, they get a second one straight away, and that does show something different, shows a bit of class. But they've got to bring that into more games as well. Dundalk were unfortunate; they were playing very well up to a point, and they matched Arsenal up to that. So, I mean, Arsenal could say they've got away with one going in 2-0 up, maybe, to be honest.
Yeah, to get what you're coming from, like this, Dundalk are the Champions League and they respect them. I don't think it's a case that they don't respect them or anything else like that. But like, just because you're a Champions League, like at the end of the day, no disrespect again. I'm not putting down the League of Ireland, but if Dundalk were playing a Championship team in a competitive game, you'd still expect the Championship team to win. Like that's also more so a credit to the Championship that it's such high standards as well. But I do kind of just feel like it's a bit like with Chelsea last night as well against Krasnodar, the Russian team. Like once they got that second goal and pushed themselves 2-0 up, even United against Leipzig, they just let the handbrake off and they could kind of relax and it gave them that air and breathe of confidence, and they just went to town. And that I just kind of feel a little bit what Arsenal just done there after that first goal.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with you there on that one, Jerry. Obviously, as you said, no disrespect to League of Ireland, I completely agree with that. But yeah, look, that's the way it is with these teams. They know how to do it. They played in Europe so many years in a row. They know what to do, and you've compared them to United and Chelsea last night. It is quite similar, just a different level of competition.
Sorry, go ahead there first, Paul.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Peter M got back to you on the outfielders taking goal kicks. They can indeed.
Peter M is an absolute saviour.
Yeah, definitely. And then we've got one more comment from Michael Mearney, who said, "Lads work so hard, and then the old man messed it up." Very harsh, Michael. Very harsh. But look, listen,
very harsh on 2 counts. Mess up, and just because Gary Rogers is in his late 30s, I think that's a very, very harsh comment.
Yes, he's still young. Doesn't look any age shy of 25. No, definitely not. So anyway, that's half time, lads. Go and get yourselves a cup of tea and get some more comments in for us there. We're chatting away here until the end of the game, so get more in, get talking to us.
Yeah, I was just actually going to say, I'm just looking down here on Flash Score at the half times from the other 8 o'clock games tonight. It's very goal shy in the Europa League tonight. Apart from this game, AC Alkmaar are 2-0 up against, I can't fully think of how to pronounce the name, but they're Croatian. Everton played them a couple of years ago. Rigta, I think it is. Opposite are PSV are 1-1 in their game against Nicosia, and Nice lead 1-0 against Hapoel Beersheba. But apart from that, the other games are all 0-0. So out of 12 games tonight, we only have 2, and 2 is 4, 1 is 5. Only 7 goals in 12 games is a pretty poor return at halftime.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, but it does show one thing, that it's going to be a very competitive Europa League season as well, that no one's going to get absolutely destroyed. Sometimes, like, you see a couple of teams, but yeah, it's a tough Europa League. You look at some of the names you've said there: Real Sociedad, Napoli, Nice, even Bayer Leverkusen. I mean, these are good, top quality European sides, and they won't be getting beaten heavily by some teams this season anyway.
Well, it seems as if the 5 to 6 games was the goal rush for games, because only one of them 12 games finished 0-0. That was CSK Moscow and Dynamo Zagreb, and there were some absolute goal fests in some of these. As we mentioned, Celtic draw 2-2 with Lille. Obviously, Leicester had that good win away against AEK Athens in Greece. Spurs going down 1-0 in Belgium against Antwerp. But a lot of other games high in the goals. AC Milan 3-0 home win against Sparta Prague. Obviously, AC Milan, many people's favourites. Feyenoord, this was a little bit of a surprise result. They're going well in the Dutch Eredivisie, but they were hammered 4-1 at home by Austrian side Wolfsberger. Red Star Belgrade, they bet Lyric, Slovenian side 5-1. Hoffenheim, they won 4-1 against Ghent. Goal game of the night has to be Lask and Ludogorets and Spurs group. 4-3 victory there for Lask at home. Villarreal had a good victory, 3-1 away to Qarabag. That's not an easy place to go. And McCarthy Tel Aviv, who of course were in Dundalk's group a couple of years ago, they also had an impressive victory. They went away to Turkey and bet Sisaspor 2-1. So I'm looking forward to the Europa League goal show on Virgin Media Sports tonight after this game with all them games.
Yeah, most definitely a lot of goals tonight, and it's always good to see Spurs losing, in my opinion. So we'll definitely be watching that.
Yeah, that's a setback. I don't think they'll be too worried because, like, obviously they got a double header now against Ludogorets. They'll still fancy their chances. Spurs think I got good squad depth, but I do think, I know it's kind of going back to what I said earlier, going against what I kind of said earlier, but Spurs are desperate, obviously, to get back into the Champions League. They're desperate to win a trophy. I do kind of think the Europa League is the opportunity for them to tick both boxes because I think of their squad depth, despite tonight's result, I still think they're going to get out of the group. So they can kind of like treat this as an opportunity to give the squad a run out. Then when the knockout stages returns in February, the volume of games will thankfully have slowed down by that stage. It'll be through that busy Christmas period. All them hectic midweek games are coming up. And then they'll be able to give us a right good go. Of course, the only thing is, I know it's very early days as well, 2 games gone in the Champions League group stages, but there are going to be some tasty teams dropping in from the Champions League, like Inter Milan and Real Madrid. They have a double header of games coming up over the next couple of weeks. You know, whoever doesn't come out the right side of them 2 games, they're in serious danger of dropping out. One at PSG or Leipzig are going to be dropping out. One at Atalanta, Ajax are going to be dropping out. So, you know, it does get interesting from there on in then.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's always good teams that drop out of the Champions League. Maybe they're just not good enough. You look at Napoli a few years ago, Arsenal played them in the quarterfinals and did beat them, which I was surprised about. But I mean, you look at them now; they'd be contenders to win the Europa League if they were in it. So, I mean, it would definitely it'd be great. Well, it won't be great for Arsenal or anyone else, but it's like it'll make the league, it'll make it stronger and tougher. And I suppose that's what you do want. You want to be playing against the best teams, and that's why teams strive to be in the Champions League.
Yeah, just like obviously now, I think getting to Europe, obviously like the dream is still to get an Irish team in the Champions League group stages. We've come close with Shelbourne and Dundalk in the past, but I think even getting to Europa League is still a pinnacle achievement and still like an aspiration. Just kind of looking ahead, like going forward, like. But obviously Dundalk's achievements and results this year, even Rovers as well deserve credit for some of the results they've had over the last couple of years. The coefficient in the league is going to be improved. We mentioned Dundalk's, even their own individual coefficient. Like even the last 4 years, they were the lowest ranked team in the competition 4 years ago. They were still the 4th seed this time around, but they were 5th or 6th out of the 12 4th seeds. So that just shows how much they've improved. They get back in next year. They give themselves a great chance because I can see them be seeded for the first couple of rounds. Then go on to Shamrock Rovers again in the Champions League. There's a good chance they're probably going to see us for that first qualifying round, get further in the Champions League. And now, obviously, there's a lovely attraction that no matter what stage in the Champions League qualifiers you get knocked out, you can fall back into Europa League. So even Rovers will be looking from that point of view that, you know, a Europa League playoff round is a realistic ambition. Like there's good talks and trying to keep hold of Jack Byrne off a new contract. Like they managed to keep hold of him. Like there's every chance they could do well in Europe next year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Rovers are a very good side. I've seen them a couple of weeks ago against Sligo and just absolutely steamrolled them just before the international break. Jack Byrne put a great ball in over the top for the second goal for Graham Burke. I remember you look at the players they have. Some of them have played international football. The goalkeeper, man, is as solid as a rock. I mean, it's onwards and upwards for the Irish sides, particularly in Europe.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. It popped into my head one of the days I was on about it. Like, how much does that actually deserve credit to bringing back in Alan McManus? Because it's not that long ago, no more than Liverpool in the Premier League, goalkeeping was an absolute nightmare for Shamrock Rovers between Kevin Horgan and Zinchenko. And Stephen Bradley, again, was a bit like Klopp with Karius and Mignolet. He didn't really fancy either of them and had to constantly keep chopping and changing both of them because neither of them were consistent enough. Like McManus now, for me, has just delivered so much. How much do you even think as well? Forget about as great as Jack Byrne has been, as great as Aaron Green, Graham Burke have been in terms of putting the ball in the back of net. But now having that solidified number one figure, how vital has that been to Shamrock Rovers' progression over the last 2 years?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he was there when they won their 2 league titles back in 2010, 2011, and he was fantastic. I think you got to mention Roberto Lopez at the back as well, and
Yeah.
league race also. Roberto Lopez is a fantastic defender. He's been brilliant, and even up against Zlatan, he done very well a couple of weeks ago. So I mean, they're just an all-round very good side, and there's not going to be a lot of teams that will be beating them heavy, particularly in Ireland as well. If you win against Rovers, it's a great win. So yeah, definitely. I mean, Dundalk, Shamrock Rovers, even Bows were unlucky in the Europa League qualifiers this year against that team Fervar from Hungary, was it? I think it was
Yeah,
Hungary.
they got
Yeah,
to the playoff round in the end, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, listen, they're very unlucky. They drew one of them, lost on penalties, and I mean, if it goes to penalties, anything can happen. But yeah, I mean, look, onwards and upwards. We're really, really competing at the minute, and it's great to see.
Yeah, even like Derry, they lost out to that Lithuanian team after extra time. And again, like, look, maybe it worked in Dundalk's advantage that these games were only one-legged, where they might have been beaten in the second leg by Sheriff. They might have been beaten the second leg from that team from Faroe Islands. But definitely Dundalk and Derry will be left to think if, or not, sorry, Bows and Derry will be left to think if it was two-legged, because both them went away from home. Both of them got score draws. They got their way goals, and they will advance their chances at home. But look, it wasn't to be as well. I think another player as well that's really impressed me for Shamrock Rovers is obviously middle of last season, they made the double coup from UCD, bringing in Neil Farrugia and Gary O'Neill. And I think obviously Farrugia was the more high profile one because of his electrifying performances for UCD, getting into the Ireland and 21s, playing. Could be wrong in saying this, but I think he scored in that game against Luxembourg, did he? Stephen Kenny's first game. That kind of Gary O'Neill's arrival kind of went under the unnoticed. I think he's just slotted into that midfield as if he's been there a long, long time. Like, it's only his second season playing Premier Division football. I know he's quite experienced. I know he's over at Wolves and a few other clubs in England when he was a kid, but he really is now starting to look at very, very comfortable player at this level.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you even look at their second team they had in the first division this year. You've seen them beating that lone 4-0 up there. And I mean, some of the lads they've played in that team, Brandon Kavanagh has been brilliant this year. It was up towards the top end of the goal scoring charts. Thomas Aluo up front. Fantastic players. And I mean, it looks like Rovers are there to stay for a couple of years. We'll be going back to the 80s now, winning 4 in a row again. Would they be singing that? Hopefully not. But that's
why did you even bring it up? Why did you even bring it up?
No, it just came into my head. It's
bad enough to hear 18 times.
18. Anyway, we'll go back to the comments. We've got a couple of Michael Marnie is raging. All his England mates. He's getting stick off his English supporting mates. Worried a bit. He's not going to try talk about the league again. And now you always try talk up the league as we just have there. The league's been great the last couple of years. You look at the performances in Europe. And, I mean, Dundalk were holding Arsenal for 42 minutes there until the goal. So, I mean, that's all you have to say to them. We've got one more. Peter M. again. Very disappointed. I was hoping to be 0-0 or 1-0 so I could enjoy Arsenal Fan TV later. Sure. It can't be good all the time, Peter. It can't be good all the time. And we've got,
you're never going to enjoy Arsenal Fan TV when Trump's is on it. I know your troops, whatever his name is.
Exactly. I completely agree. We've got Kevin Tracy here. We're going on to the Hurling kits. What do you think of the new Hurling jersey, lads? A 10th new jersey since 2018, I think.
There's no way it's our 10th new jersey in 2 years.
No, it's not. It's definitely, I'd say it's probably the third, to be honest. Probably the third.
It is, yeah, because traditionally every season, we say, that runs from August to May or June, whatever it is international, we always bring out a new jersey. Obviously, the fact that the last jersey, I don't know why they waited until before the Denmark game last year to bring that out. Yeah. But obviously the fact that they only got the one run out, they're obviously going to use it for the first few games this year. I'm a fan of it. I really like. Look, first and foremost, I'm glad we got rid of a sponsor. We're the only international team that's for some reason kept having the sponsor. Looks stupid. So I'm glad we got rid of that. I like the colours. I like the shades. I wasn't mad in our last home jersey. It was too dark. That's not the shade of green you associate with Ireland. It's not what we have in our tricolour. I like it. I like the design on it. I think there's a little bit of a flashback to the Italian 90 jerseys, but with both the home and away jersey. Like, our away kit, in fairness, it's always plain and basic. It's always white, but there is just something a little bit more appealing about this year's.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. I think Umbro make fantastic jerseys. They obviously make Shelbourne's jersey. They make a couple of the other teams in the league as well. They make our gear for Irish Football Fan TV as well. So
Sound
I
lads.
think, yeah, very good, very good. But I think the orange jerseys are lovely. I think you can't really go wrong with Umbro. They're fantastic, and I think the jerseys look great. And obviously, you mentioned no sponsor. I think every jersey would look better without a sponsor.
Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
just know for argument's sake, like obviously be a big fan of the GA. Was watching the Clare Limerick hurling match today. Limerick for some reason are the only team that don't carry a sponsor in GA, but by God, does their jersey just looks so nice. Now maybe the fact that all their players look absolutely welded into it that helps as well, but it looks so nice. Second half has just started here. Arsenal kicking things off, and Dundalk have made a change at half time. An interesting one. Greg Stoggart on for Sean Murray. Maybe it's an injury, maybe it's a few to the mind that look, this game is done. Let's rest him and keep him prepared for Sunday. I imagine it's one of them two because there was very little wrong with Murray's performance in that first half, I have to say.
Yeah, I completely agree. He was very involved and 3-0.
Oh, what a finish though, in fairness.
That's a
He's on
great
fire
goal.
tonight, that lad.
Well, look, I told you the ball was getting lower and lower each time, but he's finally put in the goal, Nicholas Pepe. Yeah, it's a good goal. I mean, right off half time, Dundalk won't be happy with that. Arsenal have pretty much killed this game in about 4 or 5 minutes, give or take, in between the halves. So, I mean, again, as we were going on about, it shows their class in those little pockets of play. And I mean, it's a great finish as we're watching back now, right in the top corner. He's really picked that one out on his weaker right foot, I think, as well, which is good to see. But look, I mean, 3-0 now. Happy days, I suppose.
Yeah, it didn't even. It's a bit like Bamford's second goal last week for Leeds against Villa. Very little backlift as well.
Yeah,
but it's a wonderful thing. He just kind of rolls it out his foot and just strikes it. Pictures there showing Patrick McElhinney giving out. Like obviously, you probably know for yourself in Dundalk, right? Like let's just try and get some respectability in the second half. Maybe draw the second half. Last thing you want to do is give away the goal so early on. I'm also just annoyed as well with that goal because it's taken us completely off topic from the substitution. Because my next point I want to talk about is Greg Stockett's hair. He's got a haircut, Paul.
Oh no, it's like Thor and Thor Ragnarok. He's got the hair chopped. I mean, he looks well. He looks sharp. He obviously got it for his day out at the Emirates. But I mean, yeah, I probably would have kept the hair myself. I'm receding at the minute. So if I could grow hair like that, I'd definitely be keeping it for as long.
I'm also, unfortunately, in the same category. But I have to say, though, long hair did suit Greg Stockett, though, I have to say.
Yeah. It just suits some lads, doesn't suit others. So, I mean, listen, his choice, I suppose. We've got a couple more comments.
Get them out there. Dundalk have earned a free kick for themselves. Good pressure from Chris Shields when the ball back, and Michael Duffy then going under the challenge of Nathan Niles.
Right, Michael Murney asks, do we think an Irish club could get to the level of a Danish team in terms of competing in Europe? It depends what Danish club you're talking about. You look at, like, say, FC Copenhagen, and even who's in the Champions League this year? Is it Midtjylland?
Yeah, Midtjylland.
I think, like, I mean, that is a step up. You look at those two teams in particular. Copenhagen played United in the Europa League last year, which is a great level to get.
And we're unlucky in a way.
Yeah, they were unlucky. Their keeper was fantastic that night as well, from what I remember. United got given another penalty, I think, which is probably the 30th or 40th this year. I mean, they definitely could, but I mean, if you look at those two sides in particular, they're competing at the highest level constantly. So I mean, it'd be tough for them. But if Dundalk keep this up, I mean, and Rovers, as we mentioned as well, there's every chance.
Yeah, just get back to that comment a second. I can see what you mean by your comment earlier about Mustafi being an absolute liability. For no reason before Michael Duffy even swings in the free kick, he just pushes Greg Stockett to the ground. Absolute stupidity. Going back to Michael's comment there, I think, yeah, definitely, maybe not the Danish league, but definitely in Scandinavian terms. I think, like, even look at the Swedish teams, they're getting a couple of teams into the Europa League, Champions League the odd couple of years. Norwegian teams as well. I think that kind of has to be the aim. Obviously, I'm always kind of looking at the likes of, Bache Borisov, a Qarabag, these type of teams from countries that wouldn't be as strong as us at the international level, but these teams are so far ahead of the rest of the league. They've got good financial resources, so difficult to draw a comparison there. But I think, yeah, maybe not the Danish league, because you touched on Copenhagen can get to they knocked Celtic out last year, gave Man United a good game. Yeah. Midtjylland in the Champions League group stages. not that long ago they bet Manchester United as well in the first leg of Europa League tie as well.
Yeah.
I definitely think like more so like Norwegian, Swedish teams that were up there challenging the latter stages of qualifying every year, and a couple of years we can push a team over the line. That has to be the aim. But the strike rate is getting better now. It's 3 times now in 9 years we've had a team in the Europa League group stages. It was a 5-year gap between Rovers and Dundalk, and just 4 years now between Dundalk first time and this time around. So I'm not saying we'll have a team maybe again next year. I do think the way things are looking coefficient wise, we could have teams in the third playoff qualifying rounds, them kind of rounds. But hopefully in 2 or 3 years' time, we'll be here again on a Thursday night, or maybe even a Tuesday and Wednesday night, talk about an Irish team in action.
Definitely, that's the goal. That's the goal. I completely agree. I think you look at the difference in the last 10 years, we've had 3 teams getting into a group stage of a European competition. Before that, we haven't had any. So I mean, that's the main stat, and that's the important thing. And now we've had 2 twins in 4 years, which is fantastic.
Sorry, finish first, Paul.
And I was just going to go on to a comment. You keep going there, and then we'll move on to the comment.
Which looks like, in fairness, like we have had stages where we had Irish clubs get to, back in the old days of the UEFA Cup, the first round proper, just before they started the group stages. Like obviously Shelbourne that time, when they lost out to Deportivo, they fell into the UEFA Cup first round proper. They drew 2-2 with Lille at home. They actually done the opposite of Celtic. They came back and drew 2-2. Obviously lost their return leg. Cork City got there then again the following season. I think it was one of the Serbian teams. It was either Partizan or Red Star Belgrade. And St. Pat's as well. They got there in 2008 and only lost 2-0 in Germany against Hertha Berlin. Came back to the return leg in the RDS and drew 0-0 and hit the post and acquitted themselves very, very well. Like so, Irish teams have shown that they can do quite well on the stage. Dundalk definitely going to make 1 change, if not 2 changes. Jordan Flores is coming on for, I think it was Patrick McElhenney that popped up on the screen even.
We've got an interesting comment here about one of your pals from Finn Harps, Ollie Horgan at the wheel. We've obviously got a Pats fan, a Finn Harps fan there. I mean, Ollie is a very interesting character. He's a fantastic man. Done a great job with Finn Harps, and even the last 2 games where it looks like they're going to get nothing, they get 6 points, and it's in their hands now to stay up, which is fantastic. Not for me, but for them.
And he gives nothing away to the media.
Exactly. Keeps it on the down low. That's the way they want.
There's no way that a man is publicly coming out and saying to everyone that if we get 9th place, a relegation playoff, we're happy with that. There's no way that he's going to the players and saying, right, 9th's our ambition. Like it's 100%. He's aiming for 8th place. Yeah. So Jordan Flores is coming on. I mentioned, I think it's Patrick McElhenney that's coming off. The other player that is going to be coming on is Sean Hoare. So that's 3 of Dundalk's substitutions used up. And Sean Hoare is coming on for Dan Cleary.
Yep. Okay. We've got another comment from Kieran. I think this is a question. Harps for Europe. What do you think?
It's still a possibility because they're in the Cup quarter-final.
Yes, true. I mean,
I'd love to see nothing more than Ollie Horgan on the European stage.
Yes, I think.
The only thing is like it's Ollie Horgan. I think now, if Finn Harps were to get to Europe, or if next year is like it is this year with no crowds, I think it'd be a wasted opportunity for just a branding point of view, just for everyone in general. I think it's just absolutely fantastic to see how they're meeting him. He's an absolute character. He's a great man for the Colts. I remember, I don't know who it was, but when they played Dundalk a few weeks ago and they got a point, and everyone said, "Oh, it's a massive point and it's a great result." It says, "Look, you can blend it up and talk about all you want, but the point against Dundalk away is the exact same as the point away against Shelbourne at Talca Park." It means the exact same for us on the table.
There's only one way to put it. I think I actually was talking to my friend the other day, and he was asking me had I spoken to Ollie Horgan this season. And I was like, no, I haven't had the privilege, but our man Jer has spoken to him a couple of times, and he was like, he's a great man. He's a great man. Does great interviews. Yep. So there we go.
I think even like it's amazing. Like at the time how we played it down, but it's the catalyst to what started this cup run was then a couple of cup victories against Pats and Bray back in August. And I said to him, like, if you're on a good bit of form, you're after winning 2 games. They're just being Waterford in the league as well. So I said, like, you've won 3 for the last 4 games. He's like, yeah, but the problem is 2 of them in the cup, and you don't get 6 points for that. Like, he just really keeping Finn Harps up in the league is so important for them. But like since then, they've gone on a great run. Apart from losing to Sligo, which they did in their next game after that, they've now been unbeaten their last 6 league matches.
Great. It's fantastic form from Harps. And I mean, they deserve to be right behind Shelbourne and Derry and Pats as well, the way it's going. It's going to be a tight finish. And I mean, Harps are the team in form at the minute. They're playing the most games. So they're the team in form. It's going to be very tough. We've got another comment from Michael Mann. He's like, sorry for all the negativity, lads. I do love the league in this chat. Yep. I get that. I do understand. There's no problem with being negative. I understand when goals get you. Sure, I'm an Arsenal fan. They concede most weekends, so it's very, very. It can be very, very critical at times. But yeah, I mean, just keep promoting the league. As you said, you love the league. Keep promoting it, and that's what we'll try to do ourselves. Thanks very much.
Look, I think anyone that goes to the league regularly, like ourselves, are obviously the cover games and the fans that do be there week in, week out on the Friday nights when before COVID, will tell you, look, we're not trying to compare to the Premier League or trying to brand ourselves and similar like that. But look, it's good football. You're going to see, and the great thing as well about the league as well, a lot more younger players are coming through. There's a couple of players now that are getting on the 21 squad. You're going to see good football. You're going to see honest players. You're going to see players as well. The thing I love most about the league is like similar to like the GA background. You've seen players that you know yourself, that you grow up, that they're in the heart of the club's communities. You're getting your good value for money. You're not paying any more than €15 to watch a game of football for 90 minutes entertainment. You can't argue with that. You still get your attractions of your Friday nights. Every club, whether it's in Dublin, no matter where it is in Ireland, they're in the built-up area. You've got your pubs, you've got your socialisation. You can go for your few pints, meet your mates before and after. For me, it's the absolute perfect way to spend a Friday night. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Like we're a nation that's crying out for that and absolutely adores the game of football. It's our number one sport and most participated sport in this country. The national team only plays 4 or 5 times a year here at home. You're not going to be forking out money every week to go over and watch a team in England if you follow a team in England. You've got the opportunity to watch football on your doorstep every Friday night. You've got teams like Dundalk now who can mix up the team best in Europe, Rovers that aren't far off that category, Bulls who are producing so many exciting young players. Like, why wouldn't you go out and go and watch these games? And like, you know, not I've obviously named up all the Dublin clubs, but like if you're from Sligo, like, you know, from Galway, like what is like what you want to do on a Friday night, like?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, like you look at the games that are generally on from the Premier League on a Friday night, usually are quite poor. It's usually your Brightons and your West Broms due to European competitions. I mean, you'd be better off going to see a top of the table clash in the League of Ireland or even in the First Division, by the way, which has been
even they can watch the highlights back at their Premier League game afterwards anyway, like.
Exactly. You think of like
you're not gonna watch every Premier League game that's on the weekend, like.
Yeah, like for example, I've been going to a lot of First Division games since it's come back, and it's been fantastic entertainment. UCD, you're guaranteed goals every week you go there. I mean,
Bray, you're guaranteed a lovely warm dinner afterwards.
Exactly, yeah. Same with Cabinteely as well. You're always guaranteed a bit of pizza out there.
Did Cabinteely give food after the match?
They give pizza when the lads don't take it, yeah.
The dirty feckers. You remember, of course, Hugh and Gary that used to was on the channel as well. We were out there for the first game of the season when they played Bray Wanderers. Absolutely, it was the most horrendous night for football ever. Gale force wind, bucket and rain. We're all soaked and frozen to the bone. We probably had pneumonia for a month, so we didn't even get to cover a game after that. Not an ounce of pizza. And they won the bloody game. I'm delighted they missed out on the playoff now, you
know. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it's been great this year and probably even picked the First Division for entertainment. You look at Drogheda, who eventually went up as champions. I've seen them a couple of times down at the UCD Bowl. It was a fantastic game. They won 3-1. Penalty save from David Odamusa on the goal. Saved another one the other night as well. They're an up-and-coming side, Drogheda, and they'll be tough to beat next year, particularly with those two centre-halves at the back, Hugh Douglas and Derek Prendergast.
Yeah, two very experienced players, and that's exactly what they need because, like, putting the ball in the back of the net for Drogheda from watching the First Division over the last couple of years is not a problem. They're probably the most entertaining team to watch in the league. They have so much firepower. It'll be interesting to see how the likes of Chrissy Lyons, Conor Kane, who looks a very exciting player in midfield, as you mentioned, Brandon Birmingham. It'll be great to see how these players now adapt to the Premier Division next year. So yeah, like they're having that reassurance. Like Hugh Douglas, their Prendergast, to bring massive Premier Division experience as well. And like I said, they're a big fan, a big club with a good fan base. It's not that long ago that they were in cup finals, winning the league. We talk about Irish teams in Europe and what could have been. They were an open goal away from beating Dynamo Kiev, which would have been absolutely massive. So like it is good to see. It's always good to see like a big club like that come back up. I've never been to United Park. I'm obviously hoping next year when fans can get back in, it's something I'd like to get there. If one of the Dublin clubs are based there, particularly Pats, who I like to try and get to as many of their games as possible. Just in reference to this game, so 15 minutes in now, Arsenal obviously adding to their 2-0 lead. Nicolas Pepe with a third goal, literally in the opening moments of the second half. Not much has happened since. Both teams now ringing the changes, emptying the bench, has obviously realised there's bigger priorities now ahead on Sunday. What do you think Dundalk's mindset is going to be? Like I said, they've brought off the likes of McElhenney, Murray, Dan Cleary. They've got 2 more subs still yet to use. It really kind of is a damage limitation job as Arsenal bring on Danny Ceballos and William at the moment.
Yeah, I think in terms of both sides here, Arsenal have got United on the weekend. That's a team who they're directly up against, and it's an important game in the Premier League. I think for Dundalk, you've got to look at now they've got to try and seal Europe in the next couple of weeks. They've got a couple of tough games left. Teams on all fronts still fighting for Europe in the League of Ireland as well. And you got to mention as well there, it's a quick turnaround. They've got Rapid Vienna away next Thursday, which is not going to be easy either. So, I mean, there's plenty of games coming up for these sides ahead of the next international break.
Yeah, just that other game you mentioned, Rapid Vienna and Mo, that's one of the games that's still actually goalless. And you're probably looking at it and wondering, from a Dundalk point of view, if they can get the business done against Pats on Sunday night, which I'm hoping they don't, that like they then could turn around and say like, right, well, the Sligo game doesn't mean anything. We've our business done in the league. We've actually for once, which would be mad for them, they'll actually have a week break then, and they could actually go off and have a bit of a cut off in that game. They're making their 4th substitution now. Sean Gannon is coming on, and it looks like Chris Shields. It is Chris Shields that will make way.
Yeah, that's good stuff. We've got a couple more interesting comments here. We've got Luke Byrne, obviously a Bows fan, going to win the Champions League in 2023. Very optimistic. I like it though. We've got our man Gary Spain once again. Ollie Horgan's a great manager, but don't forget Paul Hegarty, big influence. Hearts fans must be there. Yep, completely agree, Gary. They've been fantastic the last couple of weeks, as Jared did mention also.
Another character, Mr. Paul Hegarty as well.
Finn Harps, Donegal, full of characters. Yeah. Full of characters.
Very, very vocal man on the sideline as well, along with Ollie Horgan. I agree with you there. You could just kind of get the sense from the vibe, from how vocal he is on the sideline, along with Ollie. He's probably right up there in terms of equally as much significance and importance. Maybe just doesn't get the credit because he's not in the line right as much as well, but I'm pretty sure if you ask any Finn Harps player as well, Paul Hegarty is a crucial part of that background team.
Yep, we've got another interesting comment from Peter who has a bigger chest, Brian Garton or Kenny Brown. That's a question we all want to know the answer to. I mean,
good one.
I mean, I haven't seen.
There's not a lot in it.
Yeah, I haven't seen Kenny Brown in a couple of years, so we'll stick with Brian Garton for me.
I agree with you. I haven't seen Kenny Brown, I think, since his retirement 2 years ago. But no relation. But just because of the overlap of the names, I'm not going to go against Kenny Brown.
Exactly.
Another League of Ireland legend, though. Very, very good centre back in his day.
Exactly. Peter Emin again. BT commentary just mentioned the cars. Christ. You should be watching on Virgin Media then, Peter.
Good band though. Like they had a couple of bangers back in the day. You have to say though. You know what? That's actually just made my mind up now because obviously going to make my lunch, getting ready for going to work tomorrow, and I always like to have a bit of music in the background. I'm going to have a bit of a chorus playlist now.
Peter says as well, I think if you haven't seen Kenny Brown, that means he wins. Okay. We'll leave that one there. I think I've missed a comment there.
Actually, can't get them all.
Exactly. Your man was giving out. He thinks he's made a good point there. Look, doesn't matter. Leave it. Apologies, Killian.
Of course, as well, to everyone who's watching and getting your comments in, don't forget to drop a like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, where we'll have loads of content coming up from this weekend's League of Ireland action. As you mentioned, Paul, you are covering, what game are you covering this weekend?
I'm covering UCD and Longford in the promotion playoff semi-final. It's one leg this year, which is makes it a lot more interesting. Obviously, I assume extra time penalties will be involved as well. And it's going to be on at the same time as the other playoff between Bray and Galway, which would be fantastic drama going on. Like Tuesday night.
Yeah. Our man Gary Spain will be at that game as well. So we'll have everything covered across for you on our Instagram page with updates and our Twitter page. So any significant moment, you won't miss it. And Paul, or Neelan, the main man of the channel, he'll be in Richmond Park for that crucial game on Sunday night between St. Pat's and Dundalk.
Yeah, and obviously we do have the FAI Cup quarter-final between Athlone and Shells is on this Saturday as well at 3:00.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big game for Athlone as well. They've improved a lot in the last couple of weeks under Adrian Carberry. I seen them down in Cabinteely a few weeks ago. They look strong. They've got Ronan Manning up top, who's been brilliant for them this season. And I think Shells have it all to play for in that game as well. It'll be a very tough game.
Yeah, it's probably the perfect game for Shelbourne, actually, given everything that's going on at the moment. Like, it's weird. Shelbourne actually themselves, they haven't done a lot wrong. Like, I'm pretty sure this time 3 weeks ago, if I said to you, being a Shelbourne fan, Paul, you're going to go away to Waterford and you're going to win. You're going to beat Sligo at home. You'll be rubbing your hands thinking, brilliant, that's us safe. Like, we'll have a cut off of Europe then. You'd never thought for a second like that Finn Harris would dig out a result against Dundalk, and then even more impressively get them back-to-back victories against Bows and Pats that has pretty much cancelled out the good work that Shelbourne have done.
Yeah, definitely. Arsenal in again here. He's
just trying to walk in there, but just getting a bit too cocky and a bit too fancy for themselves.
Classic, exactly.
You won't know Brian Gartland is not a man to take any nonsense. Good interception. I think he's been very good tonight. He's used a lot of his physicality and his experience tonight, and that big chest, as Michael said.
Yeah, and we've got a stat attack here from Gary Spain. I think our previous comment will like this. The Irish team beat good. He was an uncle. Fantastic, Gary Spain.
Oh, that is the comment of the night.
Yeah,
Gary Spain. You just know Gary's going to dig out an absolutely brilliant comment. That's actually great. That's a really good pub quiz question or something else like that, like just a paper back home, the Roscommon Herald, the local papers that do a Tuesday teaser, like that would be something that'd be absolutely brilliant for something like that. Like,
yeah, Gary Spain, some man, always quick on
great man for that. And of course, looking further ahead as well, as you would have seen, Gary's been a great man to get out over the Ireland away matches over the last couple of weeks with being at Bulgaria and Slovakia, and he'll be doing the same again for the November games. He's going to be at the England and Wales matches as well, so it's great to have someone from the channel over their matches, particularly given the fact as well, with the restrictions placed, not many Irish journalists or media outlets get over there, so it's fantastic to see our name over there abroad at these big Ireland matches.
Yep, most definitely. I mean, I'm actually quite jealous of them. I'd love to be going, particularly to Wembley, which would be a fantastic experience, even without a crowd. It's always a big game when we play them, either here or over there. So
it's definitely one of these things that the coronavirus has taught me that I'm really going to appreciate getting to a lot more away matches. Obviously, got to 2 over the last couple of years. That's just purely down to the fact that I'm finally for once the stage, finished college and can start affording things like that. And it's just been unfortunate. Only for the coronavirus this year, I would have went to the Slovakia playoff back in March. I would have looked to get to one of the away Nations League matches. I was probably looking at the Finland game, because I would like to get to Finland as well. So it is something that would be number one on my list when everything clears up, is to get to away matches, because it's great crack, great atmosphere. Unfortunately, the 2 away games I've been to have both been disappointing 0-0 draws. Denmark, the Nations League, which was of course Martin Neal's last game, and the game for me that I think cost us qualifying for the European Championships was that 0-0 draw in Tbilisi against Georgia last year. But take away the football experience, the memories from them trips were just unforgettable.
Exactly, yeah. I've never been on a away trip myself, but a couple of my friends have, and the supporters club I'm in have been on many as well. Hoping to get to them when we are eventually able to go back on them. But they've just told me some of the things that's gone on. I know one of my friends went to the European Championships. He was in Paris, and there were several different fans there, and they had great crack. So I mean,
I was over. I was actually over for that myself as well. The Sweden match, The atmosphere afterwards is unbelievable. Dundalk have now made their last change tonight. Stefan Kovacic is on for Michael Duffy, so that's their 5 substitutions used up as expected. Filippo Giovagnoli, given the score, and he's given everyone a run out. Arsenal looked to try and make it 4, but Gary Rogers there with a good save, and Gartland then with the clearance away.
Good save by Rogers.
Even from Arsenal kind of point of view, like they know themselves the job is done. They've been comfortable in the second half. They've at times shown that there's actually a bit of class and potentially threatened to add another little one. But you get the feeling that they're just gliding along nice as well in second and third gear. And you mentioned about getting top 4. They need to start getting the results against the big 6. Like Sunday's game was a big chance to prove a lot of them people wrong about that.
Yeah, definitely. It's an important game. I mean, they haven't beaten the top 6 team in the last 5 years. They've had their opportunities.
That's a lie.
5 years, yeah. Man City away.
Well, okay, maybe you mightn't count this, but you bet us towards. Away. Sorry, yeah.
Sorry, I should have said that. Yeah, away from home in the last 5 years. The last one was a 2-0 win against Man City. I mean, it feels like it anyway. It feels like it's been 5 years. Probably feels like a bit more. I think they've got to be looking to try get a win there on Sunday after losing the last 2 games. It'll be tough for them because I think United looked a lot sharper last night and have played well since they've returned from the international break. So, I mean, look, it's an important game and hopefully they can get their act together and try get something up in Old Trafford.
Yeah, United have been very impressive since the international break. It's like as if they've really taken the positives, if there's such a thing, from the Spurs defeat, but like they haven't dwelled on it. They've literally just put it beside them. Probably having a 2-week break, so it meant like when they came back in collectively together, it was only going to be 3 or 4 days for the Newcastle game, so that was always going to be just their focus and attention. They were very good that night. They recovered well from going a goal behind. Obviously, that great win against PSG. Didn't see the game against Chelsea last Saturday, but like it's by all accounts, it wasn't a great game. But last night, like what was potentially a banana skin against the Leipzig team that got to semi-finals last year, they're flying high atop the Bundesliga. Like in the end, like they just made it look so easy. Like Rashford and Bruno Fernandes, like they just added so much extra when the two of them came on as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Leipzig were pressing them a lot in the first half from what I heard from it. And I mean, it's a great win for them. And I mean, Arsenal have to go again now on Sunday against a team who are in fine form at the minute. Have signed well. I think signing Cavani and Tellez have been good signs, and maybe it's kind of helped the lads as well to bring in those experienced players too.
Yeah, just to update you, another game in this group, Molde have actually taken the lead. They lead Rapid Vienna 1-0 at home. 73 minutes gone in that game. So it already leaves Arsenal and Molde in a strong position. Both them teams are going to pretty much have one foot in the knockout stages because they'll both have 6 points if things stand. And it means Rapid Vienna and Dundalk, definitely from a Rapid Vienna point of view, a team who are second seeds will have aspiration to get out of this group. It's the last chance saloon for them going into the Dundalk games. Another chance for Arsenal there, but Nketiah, after a pullback, blasts is high and wide and into the empty stands.
Always amazes me how they hit the ball so high. I know he was leaning back, but it amazes me that he's got it that high. Unreal.
Like I know Andy Boyle comes out to him and kind of puts him under a little bit of pressure, but like you're still thinking like, you're only not even 10 yards out. I know it's a bit of an angle. I know it's, as you said, like standing back, but like, it was Willock, I think was the effort. It was Willock with the play. Yeah, and Nketiah with the shot. Just after flashed up my screen there as well, Rangers 1-0 up against Lech Poznan at home. I'm not just saying this, obviously with biasness, but just going first before I get to that, Arsenal made another change. Kieran Tierney's on for Granit Xhaka, and Eddie Nketiah, his night is done, and it is Balogun that's on for him. Just quickly there, in terms of Rangers, as I mentioned, they've taken the lead. I'm not saying this, obviously being a bit biased with being a Liverpool fan and Steven Gerrard, but I know you can say he's failed and he's disappointed in the league a little bit so far, but the results with Rangers over the last couple of years in Europe has been phenomenal. You have to remember the season before he took over. Rangers got knocked out in the first qualifying round of the Europa League by a team from Luxembourg. This is the third consecutive year in a row now in the Europa League. They've had some huge results over the last couple of years. They let Braga last year, got to the round of 16. Like, he's definitely like making a good name and profile for himself. And if they can end that Celtic dominance this season, which I think they have an absolutely golden opportunity, if they can cut out the City results and a little bit more inconsistency.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've been great, and even in Europe now that they'll be going on for 2 wins out of 2. He's had them in the group stages 3 years out of 3, which is
Yeah.
fantastic for a club who were in the fourth division in Scotland a couple of years ago, and they've done very well. Dundalk just have a free kick here. It's very far out, but it might be a chance for them.
It looks like Patrick Hooban. Doesn't look like he's striking to hit this. Oh, he has. And it's a decent effort, but it was never troubling runners on the goal. I thought the way he would stand up, he was just going to swing it into the box. But I suppose in this situation, 3-0 down, away from home, nothing to play for. And I suppose a little bit of selfishness comes in. Like, I'm going to try and see if I can get a goal to score at the Emirates and tell the grandkids about in a couple of generations.
Exactly. I wouldn't blame him. Sure, I'd take that shot, probably dribble towards the goalkeeper. I'd still be happy with the shot on target. That's just me, though. We've got one more comment, Peter. Interesting one. I wish Dundalk had a fan TV and Jim Core was the Dundalk version of DT on AFTV. I'm pretty sure Dundalk do have a fan TV.
They do have a fan TV, yeah.
Yeah, they do quite well. They got the interview with Giovanni after the Sheriff game as well. So definitely have a look for that, Peter. But I don't think they'll be on Arsenal fan TV's level where they're just looking for drama constantly. Won't be very interesting tonight.
It'll be interesting to see Arsenal fan TV's match reaction system, what they kind of would have made and their view of Dundalk. I didn't really, obviously the fact I'm not an Arsenal fan, so I don't watch that much. I didn't really even watch much of their content in the lead up to this game, but just got the vibe from Robbie, obviously the head of that channel. They didn't even really know much about Dundalk. In fact, they even went as far as to say Arsenal were playing Shamrock Rovers at one stage.
Yes, I heard that. Yeah, Dundalk won't be too pleased about that, and League of Ireland fans won't be too pleased about that. I don't think.
Well, I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. You're not, and most people aren't. But I think, yeah, that's not something you get wrong, because you wouldn't get it wrong if it was a lower league team from Italy. So why would you get it wrong when it's the Irish champions? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bit of research never fucking hurt anyone. Excuse the language.
Not on, Paul. We've managed an hour and 41 minutes. We were so close. We only had another 15 minutes. We're in the driving seat here, and you've just ruined it.
After the watershed.
Yeah. But sure, look, we've all been guilty of an odd swear here and there down through the years.
Exactly.
William here now for Arsenal, President 2. How would you pronounce that young lad that came on, the last fella there?
Balogun. I think it is.
Is he a new signing? Is he academy graduate, or what's his story?
I'm not actually sure. If anyone in the comments can tell me, let me know. It's the first time
I'll have a look here. I actually have Flash in front of me. They're very, very good for players' histories and all that. So I'm going to look him up here and see. He's English, so that's an indication that he might be an academy graduate. He's only 19 years of age. Was born the year 2001. He's a Baba. And yeah, he is an Arsenal Academy graduate. He's made quite a number of appearances for the under-23s over the last couple of years. Last season, he actually had a very, very good strike rate for the Arsenal under-23s. 10 goals in 15 games. He has 2 goals in 6 this season for them. So actually, forget that stat about... Oh no, it's the under-18s. He scored 25 goals in 15 games under-18s in the 2018-19 season. So he definitely looked like he could be one for the future. As I mentioned, he's only 19 years of age as well, so he could be a regular for Arsenal in years to come.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's getting his opportunity tonight. He'll be delighted with that. Very like Nketiah when he got his opportunity against Norwich all those years ago in the Carabao Cup and did get 2 goals to eventually put Arsenal through. He'll be hoping for similar tonight. Obviously, it's not in the same circumstances, but even if he could grab a goal for himself, it'd be great. It's good to see players coming through like that in any club, to be honest, especially if they come right the way through. So, good to see.
Yeah, like I think even as myself, like as much as I obviously love to see an Irish player come through at Liverpool and everything else like that, the next big thing you really want to see is academy graduates. Liverpool have always had a strong tradition. Look at their dominant team of the 70s and 80s, full of local players and everything else like that. Like, it's good to see now that Curtis Jones is starting to add to that list, because we only had Trent there for a long time. Like, so it does mean an awful lot as well to supporters to take great pride in having Scousers and that as well. Just to finish up on a few more stats on what's his name again? Jeez, I'm so bad. Balogun. He has 4 caps for the England under-17s and 2 for the England under-18s as well. So there's all you need to know about Balogun. We didn't even know much about him until 2 minutes ago, and now due to the beauty of Flash Score, we feel like we know a lot about his career. Another chance there for Arsenal, but Kieran Tierney blasts over at the bar.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, it's good to see these players coming through, and it's good to get the information on them early so you'll know them when they do eventually fly in. You think of a couple of years back when Marcus Rashford came on the scene, and look at him now, flying and doing brilliant stuff outside of football as well. So, I mean, fantastic.
There's little things like that I think you'll never forget. Like, I think for us, if this Balogun fella does go on to make a name for himself, it's always going to stick in our mind. And remember that, like, he made his debut against Dundalk, and that's always going to stand out for you. You kind of always feel that you were kind of nicely progressing and watching his career go along. Like, just touch on Rashford, like Midtjylland, like that's the first thing that jumped out of my mind when we drew them in the Champions League group stages a couple of weeks ago, because that was a game where Rashford made a name for himself. He was came in, I can't remember who it was, but whoever was down to start for Man United in the warm-up got injured. Rashford comes in for his debut and, of course, went on to score a hat-trick. And as you said, like, the rest is history. And he really has established himself as a genuine person and got a great profile for himself off the pitch. And even on the pitch last night, like, most players, 99% of players in his situation, you've on the hat-trick, you've got a penalty. No, I'll give it to my teammate who's shy of goals, who's gone on a bit of a drought, could do with the confidence and a bit of a boost. Just really sums up, if you didn't think it already, you have to know it now. Marcus Rashford, even as a Liverpool fan, I have to admit, it's just top class.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. What he's doing at the minute is fantastic. And even on the football field as well, he started to get his form back. There's a few people giving out about him playing for England a couple of weeks ago. He wasn't doing the business. Well, I mean, now he's back in form. Get him back in that squad and get him firing.
But I think that's quite stupid, because, like, I didn't watch a massive amount of Manchester United in the first couple of games of the season, but the one game where I did watch them was that crazy game against Brighton, and he was probably one of their main positive bright sparks from that game. He was electrifying that day and caused Brighton endless problems of counter-attack. So, like, there was even signs early on when Man United was struggling, he was still in decent form. Just because he jumps off and plays for a different team for 2 games, like, the Nations League means nothing to England because they're going to be top seeds. They're going to qualify for the World Cup anyway. Like, so I can't understand, like, how if he puts in an odd bad game, how suddenly his clash has been out of form. And we talked about Manchester United, their turnaround since international break. He has been at the heart of that with his performances, particularly that Newcastle game, particularly last night, and once again producing the goods in Paris like he did last week.
Exactly, I completely agree. It's been fantastic. And I mean, England fans, we know themselves, are always quick to jump the gun about a lot of things, particularly when they qualify for tournaments. They're quick to jump on, they're going to win it. So, I mean, if a player doesn't play well in half a game, they're probably going to judge them like that. So it's no surprise. But look, he's doing fantastic things, and his form is back on the pitch now as well. So he'll keep that up, I'd say. We've got one more comment in from Michael Murney. Interesting one. Dundalk have no chance of second place. Now, I wouldn't say that. Now, it's only 2 games. I mean, listen, they could...
Well, if results stand as they are and Mold go on to beat Rapid Vienna home, you've them and Arsenal on 6 points. It's going to be a big ask. Now, there is a possibility, like, I don't see it happen. Dundalk take at least 4 points, 6 points off Rapid Vienna. Arsenal get the double victories over Mold. They're back in with a shot, they're back in with a chance, but I don't know, to be honest, and I don't see it happening. But like, no, it definitely is an ambition to see an Irish team knockout stage of the European competition, absolutely. But I think the first priority is making this a regular occurrence or a more frequent occurrence. Like I said, we're getting that strike rate down from 5 years down to 4 years. Irish teams in the group stage. I think if we can start working on that a little bit more consistently, then start pushing a focus and an emphasis on getting teams to knockout stages. And you have to remember as well, it's come back to bite Dundalk in the backside this time and last time, because of the way our league is run. That's a summer league. It's not designed for Irish teams to get as far in Europe as Dundalk have. It leads to fixture pile-ups. Dundalk can't even have the luxury of going into Europa League games with a 4 or 5 day or a week preparation. They're only getting 3-4 days. Like last time around, they were out in Russia playing St. Petersburg 3 days before the cup final. You know, it's not ideal. Like,
No, not ideal at all. Particularly at that time of the year when they were out there freezing cold in Russia. Not ideal situation. Oof, Nelson close there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't
he's been
ideal.
very impressive
Yeah, he's a good player. He went on loan to Hoffenheim a couple of years ago.
and done very
And
well.
yeah, he done well. I think that's the good thing about the Bundesliga is that they give these players a chance, whereas they might not get them in other divisions. So yeah, I mean, it's it's he's starting to come into the team a bit more, but he's probably maybe another loan spell out from might do him the world of good. But he's played well tonight, and it's good to see him getting his chance.
He'll probably feel he's at that stage now. Like I say, he got that taste of first team regular football at a high level in the Bundesliga, half nine. That's 2 years ago now. He's 2 years older. He's getting into his 20s. He's probably at a stage now he's going to make it. Well, I don't want another loan move. Like, it's either I'm knocking on the door, I want to either be in the first team picture or I'm not, and I can get a move to another Premier League club and I can start building myself up there from there then, really.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's an interesting one. Obviously, they all want to start for Arsenal constantly, but just the way the games are, it's not really the case. Plus, with lads in form, like you look at Williams, probably one of the players on his side as well. Like, is he going to get ahead of Williams? You know, in the starting 11. I know Williams sometimes he doesn't play fantastically, but he's well capable of doing it in the big games as well. So maybe a move away might be a good thing from, but like, I mean, it could be a similar situation to Iwobi. Okay, Everton are doing great at the minute, but is he in their long-term plans? Is he good enough to even play with a club like Everton? You'd hope Gartman pulling them back there.
I think the ball went out wide. It should be a goal kick. Yeah, it's pointed towards a goal kick. So we're inside the final 4 minutes plus whatever's going to be added on. I don't think there's going to be too much. There hasn't been any major stoppages in this game apart from substitutions. Still 3-0 to Arsenal, I suppose, from Dundalk. They've stopped the bleeding, the heavy bleeding that came either side of half time. But like I said, Arsenal still been very, very comfortable in the second half. They've had all the chances. The only decent chance Dundalk had in the second half was that free kick from Patrick Hooban. And you get the sense and get the feeling that Arsenal are just coasting along nicely in second, third gear. And when they want to, they can really up the ante and get into third or fourth gear. But yeah, so we're only going on here for probably another, I suppose, maybe 7, 8, 10 minutes. So any last chance, get any little comments in. Look, anything. Doesn't necessarily have to be in the game. It could be anything. League of Ireland related, Irish football related. Obviously, so much going on in the league at the moment. Not that awful long now. It's 2 weeks tonight. It's that England game. So plenty going on there if you want to get your last couple of thoughts and comments into us here.
Yeah, we've got 2 comments here. One interesting one for myself is Kieran Tierney. I'm not sure. What is that sign? Is that less than or greater than? I'm not sure which one that is.
That is... I'm going to say greater than, just because I'm going to try and build yourself up.
Yeah, he's spelled the name. He spelled the second names wrong twice as well. Tierney. I'll take that. I'll change my name to that, Tierney. And we've got Peter M again, who's... This is an interesting one. What bonuses are the players on for a draw or win? Europa odds you expect a good few to leave. Very interesting question. I'm not sure what the bonuses are, but I know they do get, the club in general do get a bit of money when they do get a point or when they get a win. And in terms of being out of contract, I'm not sure. I think it might depend on them getting into Europe. I know the contract situation in the League of Ireland is always very, very questionable. But yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure like some of the lads you think like Chris Shields and Tierney is a chance. Oh, good luck. Yeah, I'm not sure myself. I mean, I think a lot of it will depend on Dundalk getting into Europe.
Yeah, cheering a shot. And once again, Brian Gartland with that block. If you're looking for your Dundalk, it's not going to be getting the official man of the match, but if you're looking for your Dundalk man of the match, you have to be looking towards Brian Gartland's side. He has not let his side down with his defensive display.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, do you know much about the bonuses yourself, Jerry? In terms of
I don't really. It's not something I've ever really looked into that awfully much. But I know, as you said yourself, I know that the club gets something anyway every time that there's even a goal scored, or obviously to collect a point or whatever else like that. I know obviously they got the 3 million for qualifying for the group stages, but I'm not sure in terms of how it feeds its way down to the players and everything else like that. It's not really something, to be honest. Like probably Paul, Gary Spain obviously would be a great man for that. If they were here, I presume they'd probably have the answer for us Gary obviously has popped in a couple of comments. He might be able maybe to let us know before we leave as well. Just one thing as well that I don't find strange, but just interesting. Every time the camera flicks over to the Arsenal subs and Bellingham is there, he's always absolutely burst himself with laughter. Like, is he known for being a good character in the group, for being a joker, or what's the update there that he just?
I do follow him on Instagram, and you do see like they do be having a bit of crack, particularly him and Lacazette. But I mean, it doesn't. I don't think that ever looks great when the players laugh, and even when they're winning on the side of the pitch, like they should be. Well, I'm not like obviously you can have the crack and all.
I don't think there's like I don't think it's the case of he's laughing and he's laughing at Dundalk. I think like he's there with Lacazette, he's there with someone else. Like I know myself from being a sub in matches and all that. Like you do have good crack and be chatting away as subs even as the game's going on, and you be sharing jokes and laugh. I think it's just more three lads having good banter and crack with each other than being disrespectful towards the opposition. Like.
Yeah. No, I've seen on Instagram that the two of them do have a lot of they do be having the banter and the crack a lot of the time. So I have, and I mean again, could just be bored even just sitting on the line because usually he's always in. And I remember last season with Sheffield United in the cup as well, he was bursting to get on. And Arteta wouldn't bring him on, so maybe he's just a bit bored there trying to G himself up.
Just interesting when I'm just looking at the other games going on at 8 o'clock. Obviously, a lot of them in injury time now as well. 3 minutes of injury time in this game. We've played nearly a minute. We played about 45 seconds. Just go back to your point there, actually, and I'm guilty accused as well. I didn't actually realise Napoli actually are in the Europa League. They're 1-0 up away to Real Sociedad tonight.
Yeah, that's a.
Because you said it there. I didn't actually think they were in it either. That's probably the main standout result from tonight. I'm looking at a lot of results. Benfica, they're beating Standard Liège 3-0. That would be expected. AZ Alkmaar, as I mentioned, they're 4-1 up against Rakia, the Croatian team. CFR Cluj and Young Boys, that's 1-1. Granada and Pike from Greece, that's 0-0. As I mentioned, Molde are 1-0 up against Rapid Vienna. Nice are 1-0 up against Hapoel Beersheva. PSV have just got a late goal, so they lead Nicosia 2-1. The first of the 8 o'clock games has just finished, and it resulted in a 1-0 win for Rangers against Lech Poznan, so they're in a very strong position. And probably actually what could be the most impressive result of the night is Slavia Prague. They're 1-0 up at home against Bayer Leverkusen. Now, Bayer Leverkusen had a man sent off, but Slavia Prague have been building a nice reputation themselves over the last couple of years. Didn't disgrace themselves in a difficult group with Barcelona, Dortmund, and Inter Milan in the Champions League last year, and gave Chelsea a right good scare in the quarterfinals of this competition 2 years ago.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a great result for them if they get that. Obviously, Leverkusen have sold a couple of players this year. But yeah, definitely, that's a great result. And I mean, as I said, it's an interesting Europa League this year. You couldn't really call who's going to win it, with Spurs losing tonight as well. And I mean, it's a tough one to call, but good start for them. And you mentioned last year they were great in a group which they probably wouldn't have even thought of getting a point from at the start.
Yeah, the Europa League obviously always takes on a life of its own when 8 teams drop in from the Champions League, and we know now the way that the seeding in the Champions League, you're always guaranteed 2 or 3 groups of deaths. But of them 24 teams at the moment, you'd have to say AC Milan for me would be my favourites. Just heading in now to the last 5 seconds, another throw in for Arsenal. But the referee even allowed it to be taken. He's looking at his watch a lot. He does allow it to be taken, but that is the last action of the game. Then Arsenal player just boots the ball away. So yeah, as expected, a comfortable victory for Arsenal. I know you had your fears and worries that with that team selection side they might end up causing themselves an unnecessary headache, but they did the job. They got the 2 goals just before half time. That was a real sucker blow, and then they made absolutely sure victory with Nicolas Pepe's 3rd goal just before half time, and they coasted along nice in the second half. Look, Dundalk weren't disgraced. I know the scoreline looks like it was a bad beating, but when you're up against a team of Arsenal's quality with the ridiculous resources they have available compared to Dundalk, it's nothing to be embarrassed about.
No, definitely. Dundalk were great for about 42 minutes there, and a couple of mistakes. Unfortunate mistakes, unlucky as well, got Arsenal through, and then the 3 goals were scored in about 6 minutes. So I mean, that's it. That's the way. That's what teams like that do to you, and that's the result. Dundalk will be happy with their performance up to that, but again, Arsenal showed their class when they had to, and that's it.
Yeah, look, they've got bigger fish to fry. They've got that big game against St. Pat's now on Sunday, where they'll be aiming to secure that European spot. And like I said, look, Rapid Vienna, unless they get a late goal away in Norway, they look like they're going to be pointless as well. So they'll be taking on a team that won't exactly be high in confidence over the next couple of weeks. There is a possibility, a chance for them to take a couple of points. As I said, I think in terms of the group, Arsenal's expected to look like they're going to get through this group, no problem. But Molde already have put themselves in a good position as well. Just, I suppose, Paul, we're nearly on the 2-hour mark now at this stage. Just any last points, I suppose, you want to make on this game just before we wrap it up?
Yeah, just a couple more comments and then we maybe wrap it up. So
yeah, we'll get through them.
Yeah, Kevin Tracy.
People are making the time to get them in, so we'll get them time to read them out.
Yeah, Kevin Tracy says, great watch along, lads. Fantastic. Thanks very much, Kevin.
Cheers, Kevin.
Peter M says, I think it's on in terms of his first comment about the bonuses. I suppose it really depends on who gets the job in Dundalk if the players jump ship. Mark Kennedy mentioned with Gio. Again, I haven't heard that myself, but it is a good comment. And he also says Dundalk should get Steve Staunton in. I'm the gaffer, Jim Carr's assistant. So that's an interesting. I
think that might be along the lines of a joke.
Yeah, potentially. Bring us all the way back to losing 5-2 to Cyprus that time.
Oh, stop it. No. That is the perfect excuse to wrap it up if we've no more comments.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that, Jay. Thanks very much.
It has finished in Norway, so Molde have won 1-0. Themselves and Arsenal now top the group with 6 points, so they'll be battling it out over the next couple of weeks to rubber stamp their authority in the group, where it's last chance saloon for Dundalk and Rapid Vienna with their back-to-back games coming up over the course the next couple of weeks. But yeah, that's where I suppose we'll leave now. Dundalk back out again next Thursday, away in Austria against Rapid Vienna. It's the best of my knowledge, don't quote me. I think it's an 8 o'clock kickoff again, but whatever time it is, we'll be here again. May not necessarily be myself and Paul, but we'll have someone here representing the channel. Thanks very much for everyone who watched in tonight. I hope you enjoyed it as much as myself and Paul did. Hope you're all keeping safe. Paul, thank you. I have to say, I tremendously enjoyed the last 2 hours. It's great company. Yeah,
same as yourself, Jared. Thanks very much. Very enjoyable, and we look forward to the games in the coming weeks.
Yeah, obviously, look forward to getting out of the remainder of the League of Ireland season and make the most of it while we can before it does end up for its conclusion for 2020. But that's where we're going to leave it for tonight. Thanks to everyone watching out there, and no doubt we'll be back talking to you again very soon.
Thanks very much, lads. Good night.